Sanctuary of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Encounter. For a moment, Cheyenne I was assigned to guard the target experimental subject, 5-color dark moonlight, sitting with it beneath the treasure mountain. 5-color dark moonlight transformed from a vague human form into a young woman. My job is to watch you, but it's really a headache right now. The experimental subject had now become a young girl, and considering her moral principles, Cheyenne Ayu hesitated to give up. However, the young girl remained silent. Just then, a figure ran from the other side of the cave, passing them. Cheyenne Ayu had seen this person before, a man named Xingze, whom she had met not long ago. Perhaps sensing a presence or some other clue, he was heading the other way, towards Xingze and the others. Along the way, I saw someone I had met before. He was sitting near the treasure mountain, with a young woman beside him. I had already noticed the whereabouts of Pingman and the others, but out of concern for the safety of my younger generation, I didn't respond and continued in pursuit, quickly disappearing from the two's sight. At this point, Cheyenne Ayu said, "We all have different things to do. Fate intertwines with destiny. What will happen next?" Pingman, Lin Qing, and the other four were still wandering through the vast underground labyrinth, having made several moves during this time. They weren't completely idle, and were now waiting in a roughly hexagonal space. They hadn't escaped the enemy's pursuit. This space was neither wide nor narrow, offering ample room for hiding and movement. The four of them waited for a moment, and a short while had passed. If rescue efforts could arrive, it was conceivable that they might be from the Green Alliance, Lin Qing's helpers. However, this thought was not very practical. They would continue to move their positions in a few moments. There were many times when one had to rely on oneself. For a moment, the four of them waited in silence. Then, a slight movement was heard from the passage to the left of where they were hiding. Everyone was alert, perhaps an enemy attack. Within seconds, a dark figure could be seen appearing in front of the passage. Speaking of which, it must be a monster. Suddenly, gunshots rang out, and the quadrupedal monster lost its balance and slowly fell. Then, a figure slowly emerged from the left passageway, entering the four people's sight. He walked out from it. He was wearing a tall hat, and everyone understood instantly. "We found them." It took us so much effort. Xingze stepped into the passageway and saw four people tucked away in different corners. Then, Sheila, the shooter, also walked in. They had been discovered. "Why, found it?" Pingman asked. "Pingman, because you're too naive. You thought Zula couldn't find you, so you hid. What a shame. The device you're carrying has another locator. Even if you cut off the power to the device itself, it won't work." Pingman gritted his teeth, a touch of regret in his voice. "Next, give me that device, Pingman," Xingze said. Pingman hesitated. "What a shame, Xingze. I don't know what experiments you're doing there, but I won't give it to you if it's useless," Yaofan said. "It seems the only way is to fight. It's 4 against 2 now, so it's still a draw," Yuzayanan said. The two of them said this in succession, already taking a step forward, ready to engage. Zula excelled at long-range attacks, and the three of them seemed to have the biggest problem with Xingze. "Will you come?" Xingze smiled. "You are indeed a mysterious assassin. Let's see how capable you are today," Yaofan said. Hearing this, the other party gave him a cold and arrogant look and stepped forward, saying, "I'll deal with you, you former rookies." Zula remained unmoved, silently lowering her gun, seemingly undeterred. Hiraman and the other three braced themselves. At that moment, a water blade, released from Xiagnan's position, snaked its way toward Xingze. He extended his palm to block it. As the water blade approached his palm, a subtle vibration emanated from it, disintegrating under the vibration. Instantly, a second water blade struck Xiagnan, similarly like a water snake, from above his head. Xingze reached out again, but this time the water snake circumvented his palm and struck from the side, forcing her to move to avoid it. Meanwhile, a red glow ignited above Xingze's head, generating a core of concentrated flame energy that compressed and exploded, creating a powerful impact. The water blades continued their attack, flowing smoothly and continuously. The impact kicked up dust from the ground, causing the area to shake slightly. At first glance, it looked like the opponent had been hit, but Hong Mei's top hat gradually crumbled into shatters amidst the flames. What's going on? The burning spot was gradually dispersed by a surge of energy, revealing the figure of the man within. A closer look revealed a faint figure beside Hong Mei. It was a dark purple, faintly luminous, as if it had performed some action. Is that the primordial spirit? Xingze asked. The dark purple figure shone, and a mysterious light emanated from it, enveloping the surroundings like a multicolored web before vanishing. Perhaps returning to Hong Mei's body, a strange rune appeared on his hatless forehead, suggesting an unknown change. Things around here are a bit strange. Did he do something? Hong Mei replied, it's okay to tell you. This is an elemental blockade of space. Your abilities are obvious, so coordinating is easy. Xingze, unconvinced, harnessed the water element and attacked with a water blade. The water formed a snake-like shape and, about to move forward, gradually lost its cohesion and dispersed. Seeing the situation, Yu Fenggan used his fingers to generate flames, but the flames proved difficult to generate. With considerable effort, he could barely maintain them. It's weakened. Is this the power of that primordial spirit? Yu Fan asked. It should be a barrier-type ability. This is a bit troublesome, Pingmeng said. Is this conversation over? Then it's time to deal with the traitor. Hong Mei began to slowly approach the three, with Pingmeng waiting in the front. With their abilities disabled, the other two girls, who relied more heavily on the elements, couldn't be on the front lines, so she had no choice but to take on the fight. Start with you, Hong Mei said, then suddenly took a few quick steps closer. She reached Pingmeng and struck him in the abdomen with her palm. Pingmeng stepped back, looking for an opportunity to counterattack, but her palm released a sonic wave, a ringing sound, and it hid him from just a few centimeters away. Pingmeng took 2 steps back from the blow and clutched his abdomen. The force was so strong that it forced the air out of his lungs. Then, she swung back and kicked Pingmeng in the face, sending him flying sideways and falling to the ground. Is that all? At this moment, a red flame appeared in front of Hong Mei, then gathered and exploded. Hong Mei extended a hand to block the blast, releasing a subtle sonic wave from her hand, causing it to ripple and diffuse the impact, buffering it and instantly dispersing the flames. The explosion was far less powerful than before, perhaps less than 1/50th. Xingze then directed 2 water elemental blades, striking directly at the opponent, only to be distracted by the sound as they approached. What's wrong? Have you improved? You're still worse than the kids I trained with, aren't you, you idiot? Xingze said unhappily. Hong Mei, be prepared. I won't show mercy this time. Yu Fan's eyes glowed red, and flames erupted from his feet. Like a meteor, he rushed towards the person in front of him, striking with his flame-covered hand. Hong Mei showed no fear, dodging to the side, leaving Yu Fan's grasp empty. At that moment, the hand, gathering sonic energy, was raised, about to strike Yu Fan. It waved away, and Yu Fan instantly leaped into the air, his form swirling in crimson flames. He drew a half-moon in the air, landing behind Hong Mei with astonishing speed. From behind, Yu Fan reached out and unexpectedly grabbed hold of Hong Mei's hand. Flames instantly enveloped it, engulfing 2/3 of her arm. Her palm was now contained, and the flames continued to gather, scorching the sleeve of her hand. The heat from being held there continued to gather, and a flash of red light suddenly erupted, before the center exploded. The two were pulled apart. As the blast gradually dissipated, Hong Mei could be seen. One of his hands had lost its fabric and bore marks, but that was all it had sustained despite the considerable impact. Of the three, you truly have the most potential, Hong Mei chuckled. Without the power of the original spirit and the sonic barrier at the moment of the explosion, one of her hands would likely have vanished. Chapter 202 Showdown. The surrounding special space weakens the elemental power to varying degrees depending on the strength of the ability. This is likely related to the caster, Hong Mei, and the degree of reduction is directly related to her power. At full power, Yu Fan surpassed the barrier's restraining power, allowing him to unleash considerable force. That's how it has to be. Otherwise, it's boring, isn't it? Hong Mei said. It's been restricting us until now. Let's put an end to it today, Yu Fan said. Meanwhile, the other three and Cheryl remained in a state of wait and see. Suddenly, Yu Fan raised his hand and snapped his fingers. An explosion erupted in front of Hong Mei. The speed was instantaneous, making it difficult to dodge, forcing her to step back, but the power was not very strong, and under the protection of the special sonic wave, she suffered little damage. Yu Fan then snapped his fingers several times, causing multiple explosions to erupt in front of Hongmei, catching her off guard and drowning her in the blast, briefly gaining the upper hand. Demon-severing sound echoed, piercing the air. The sound, emanating from Hongmei, interrupted the surrounding explosions one after another. The intense sound halted the explosions. Unable to generate a fiery explosion in mid-air, Yu Fan, without hesitation, gathered flames in his hands, forming a red flame bomb with his fingertips and hurling it at Hongmei. The red flame bomb passed through Hongmei, seemingly striking him, but her form quickly vanished like a phantom, effectively missing the target. Hongmei's figure appeared in various locations, and Yu Fan saw 4 people standing in various locations. The man's multiple figures appeared in her red eyes, making it difficult for Yu Fan to distinguish them. "What's wrong? Can't you aim?" the 4 Hongmeis asked. While they were indeed unable to distinguish, there were other ways. Suddenly, a red light appeared before their eyes, gathering together and becoming a deeper crimson before expanding into a circular color. It dispersed all the phantoms before them. "Nice power, but I missed." Hongmei's phantom reappeared around Yu Fan. "Where can you hide in this small space?" Yu Fan's eyes grew redder. From the illusion of Hongmei, red explosions erupted from left to right, roiling the surroundings. Hiraman and the other 3 had no room to intervene and had to retreat to avoid being caught. Explosions echoed from all directions. Suddenly, Hongmei was hit, and the impact sent her flying back. Not far ahead, she crashed into the rock wall behind her. Sheila remained calm and unfazed, leaning against the wall. "Has the power increased again, Yu Fan? You did well, didn't you?" Hongmei's emotions suddenly surged, like a musical climax. Scarlet patterns shone around her, like musical notes and the curves of a melody. She advanced directly towards Yu Fan, who did not retreat. His fiery eyes watched the approach of the person, and a stream of fiery heat particles appeared before him, ready to meet the attack. Flame particles burst into life, and Hongmei charged forward without hesitation. He charged into the blast, his surroundings a mystical pattern that blocked the impact. In his hands, countless musical notes converged into a mysterious energy body. He thrust out with both hands, directing the impact towards the red-haired girl before him. The 2 exchanged hostile glances. Countless flames enveloped Yu Fan. Forming a flaming barrier that collided with the incoming force, poised to explode, creating a chaotic turmoil around him. Dazzling light, the power collided, and in a moment, the result was achieved. Hongmei, the weaker opponent, was knocked back to the ground by the impact of the fire element. The blow, likely shattering the barrier's restraining power, collided with Hongmei with all her might. At this moment, the man before Yu Fan half collapsed on the ground, his body already burned and scorched. He couldn't help but sigh, slowly raising his head and saying, "This is the pinnacle of the fire element. It's truly astonishing. The people in the organization don't seem to take you seriously. They were truly misjudged." "This is you," but Hongmei's face was now in dismay. She hastily rose from the ground, extending a hand forward, and a strange pattern flowed around her. Final chapter, Red Lullaby. Suddenly, red curves of pattern flowed around Yu Fan, and the air was filled with such flowing curves. For a moment, the surroundings were extremely quiet, making one's body soft and sleepy. Yu Fan seemed to lose the will to fight, his body gradually becoming heavy, and then he collapsed. "Wait. That's..." Yuzayanan, who had noticed something was wrong and was about to say something, was also affected and collapsed. Lin Qin did the same. Then the lullaby gradually faded, and the surroundings returned to the state before the barrier was deployed. Hongmei looked at the fallen man in front of her and dusted herself off. "Finally, we've got them. They were my favorites, after all," Hongmei said. "Are you taking them back to the organization?" "Those guys," Sheila, standing in the background, responded. "Who knows? My mission isn't that, but this isn't over yet," Hongmei said. Right before him stood another figure, a dark blonde mane of hair. It was Pingman. "Pingman, you understand, right? Hand that over," Hongmei said. He was the only one who didn't take the attack, blocking it with his defense. "The prerequisite is, get us out of here," Pingman said. "Oh? Anyway, let me take care of them while you think about it," Hongmei spoke, then instantly charged at Pingman at high speed. She extended her hand and blasted him with a high-pressure sonic wave, but it was blocked by a gray defensive barrier. The attack was so powerful that Pingman was forced back 2 steps. Then, Hongmei approached again, sending a wave of sound blasting towards him. Pingmeng opened her defensive barrier, colliding with it. The sound blast pounded the barrier, but Pingmeng was unable to withstand the force. Although the barrier remained intact, the impact sent him flying backwards, colliding with the barrier and slamming into the rock wall behind him. "Hand them over, I told you, I won't hand them over without ensuring their safety," Pingmeng said. He emerged from the rock and silently threw a punch at the man in front of him. He dodged and followed up with a kick. "What you did has nothing to do with me. Don't be so self-righteous." Hongmei's kick was blocked by Pingmeng's hands. He continued in this state, "Don't be ridiculous. It's all your fault. How many people have been in trouble?" Hongmei retracted her leg and punched him. The speed of the punch was so fast that Pingmeng had no time to react. He was sent flying towards the rock wall again and fell to the ground. Trouble? Obstacles created by others are things to be overcome. You're just a weakling, aren't you? Why are you saying such nice things? Hongmei approached Pingman and barged in a barrage of punches. A thud. Each punch aimed at Pingman's face was too much for Pingman to block with his bare hands. Life is indeed about overcoming obstacles, as you say, but the world you see is a stagnant quagmire. Under the successive blows, Pingman's eyes shone with a faint, dark golden light, a stubborn look that seemed to deny his existence. In anger, Hongmei grasped Pingman's neck, but Pingman reached out to pluck the hand away. Hongmei's wrist, slowly lifted by a powerful force, a strange power he had never felt before. I'll kill you." Hongmei then extended her other hand, gathering immense energy, ready to deliver the final blow from this suppressed state. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out, and Hongmei's left shoulder was pierced by a bullet. He paused his attack, stood up from Pingman's side, and glanced to the other side, where he saw that it was Shira who had fired the shot. "Sheila, you are too proud, Hongmei. Pingman can't be killed." Sheila pointed the gun at Hongmei and warned. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 Their Choice. Hongmei's left shoulder was pierced and bleeding profusely. He looked at the woman before him and asked, "What are you doing?" This was a question from Yin, who was still under gunfire. "It's the order from above. He can't be killed," Sheila continued, pointing her gun at the man in front of her. "Really? It's the order from above. Those confusing people seem to value Pingmeng very much? That's nothing. He's not as good as Yaofan. They're supposed to be protecting the wrong person, right?" Hongmei sneered. "That's none of my business. If you still want to fight, I'll deal with you, Hongmei," Sheila said with an icy gaze. "Can you do it?" Hongmei now suppressed the wound on her left shoulder with a special musical note, revealing hostility. Pingmeng stood up from the ground, his face shattered. His eyes, still gleaming with a faint golden light, glared at Sheila. "Sheila, why did you do this?" Gazing at his gradually dimming pupils, Sheila understood, his latent power was in its infancy. "I didn't do anything, just carrying out a mission." "Excuse," Pingman said. There were 2 people in front and behind Hongmei, and he was in the middle. "Yes, excuse," he said. "Sheila, you still remember the past. You would have rescued him regardless of the mission. Don't think I don't know, you've always been close." "Shut up, I have nothing to say to you," Sheila shouted. "Why don't you both come together? I'm in high spirits today anyway," Hongmei said with a smile. He looked as if he understood the situation. For a moment, as the 3 of them faced each other, another figure appeared from the other side of the tunnel. Hongmei, Pingman, and Sheila looked over, and they all saw me, who had arrived shortly after. Before my eyes, a seemingly tragic scene unfolded. 3 people had fallen, Yu Fan, Yu Xiaonan, and Lin Qing. The remaining 3 stood in a strange state of confrontation. "You're?" Hongmei asked doubtfully. The third party, those connected to the Green Alliance and the incident, were probably right before our eyes. I said, "I have 2 things to do, confirm the situation here, and make sure the people around you are safe." There was a follower earlier. "Was that you?" "I heard the explosion earlier and arrived even faster. They seemed to be fighting over some issue. Hongmei thought I had sent Aishido to handle it, but he hadn't been able to stop the person in front of me. Regardless of how he escaped, it was clear they were no ordinary creatures. Please stop now. Those guys don't look seriously injured, I said. I could see that the four of them had expended considerable energy. The fallen were asleep, and Harriman was seriously injured. Seeing this, Hongmei exchanged glances with Sheila beside her. What should we do, Sheila? Another troublemaker has arrived, let's prioritize, starting with him, Sheila replied, turning her gaze towards me. Hearing this, Pingman said, wait, that's someone we have nothing to do with, you're being too long-winded, Pingman. Hongmei, the man in front of Pingman, felt annoyed. With one hand, she gathered the sound waves, about to strike Pingman behind her. This forced Sheila's attention back towards me. At that moment, I struck, slashing with my sword, interrupting the man's attack on Pingman. A science slash streaked between the two, and I immediately approached them. Harriman, what a sad thing to say. You're just juniors I brought here, so you can't claim to be unrelated, can you, teacher? But being dragged into this place is dangerous, Harriman said. It's okay. I came here of my own free will, I said. A new companion? Do you have the courage to betray me because of him? Hongmei said, facing Harriman and me. No, Harriman replied. Hongmei's statement wasn't correct. I reached out and said, if you don't want to leave, you have no choice but to fight. There are only two choices. Both Hongmei and Shero were moved by this, their focus shifting to me. No matter where you come from, let me tell you about the third option, Hongmei said. A fighting spirit suddenly surged, and something different quietly emerged among the intertwined four figures. But before that, the person before me had no way out. He extended a hand, and within it, a wave of energy gathered, striking out, instantly colliding with the sign barrier I had created, creating a storm. At that moment, the sound of a heavy wind blowing through the valley echoed from above, alerting us all. A misty figure, formed from a condensed mass of black energy, said, "You're being a bit too noisy. We're in my area, so why don't you just call it quits?" Hearing this, Hongmei looked over and asked, "Who are you? Don't you understand? Your experiments are utilizing our power." "It's better to clarify that," the other person asked. "Are you the boss of those black guys?" Hongmei understood what was happening and, taking a step back, called back. "Third option, hand that over to me, and we'll call it quits." Seeing this, Pingman understood the intention of handing over the device. After a moment's thought, Pingman tossed him the recovery device he had been carrying. Hongmei reached out to take it, then looked at the circular device and said, "That's it. You've really put in a lot of effort for something like this. Let's go as you say." Hongmei put the item back into her pocket, smiled a seemingly bored smile, and walked off in another direction. Sheila followed, preparing to leave. Pingman said, "Pingman, whenever you feel like leaving, just tell us and we'll do what we can." Hearing this, Sheila glanced at the others briefly before heading off to the other side. "You're not the type to point a gun at things, are you? You're so nagging." "I don't want to think about anything right now," Sheila said, turning back and heading deeper into the cave. The black mist dissipated after a moment, carrying with it the sound of a deep, dark valley. We still didn't quite understand what it was. I was standing right in front of Pingman, looking at him in dismay. "You've worked so hard. That organization must have been a real problem for you." "I just did what I had to do. The L is certainly a problem, but there's nothing we can do about it, since we're already involved. I mean, there's still something that can protect us," I said. "That's true, the power of the Holy Water Spirit Academy and that city." Perhaps that didn't give me much of a sense of security, but in Pingman's eyes, the person before him was worthy of respect. He didn't know what the future held, but at least he had found someone he could trust. "That's right, soon, we let you Fan, Yuzayanan, and Lin Qing out of the cave. Senior, I thank you on behalf of those two for meeting you and getting your help," Pingman said. "Rather than that, it's better to worry about yourself." Soon, we left the bottomless underground cavern and passed through a tunnel into a forest. Not far away, we could see the tower that marked the boundary of the new Century City. This meant we had left the outer realm. Perhaps because the underground caverns had many passages, we had arrived here, so I summoned the machine on standby. Next, we would head to the Green Alliance position. Chapter 204 Follow-up. Afterward, we all returned to the Green Alliance camp. Aside from me, Pingman and the others were all receiving treatment. Fortunately, none of them sustained serious injuries and were under observation. The executive officer in charge of this mission, according to his own calculations and speculation, estimated that there were at least 10 spies involved, and that the mission itself was connected to a third party, the a yet-to-be-identified organization. The person conducting special negotiations with this third party was likely within the alliance, possibly a mysterious individual with a higher rank than the executive officer. During my free time, I went to the executive officer's room to discuss this matter privately. In any case, your safe return from this mission is paramount, said the executive officer, Luo Lin. I'm talking about internal issues here. I can't say anything about them right now, but you've worked hard, Luo Lin, I said. That's not true. From the current situation, I feel like I'm being used as a puppet. I'm so sorry, that's where you need to focus your efforts, I added. You're right. We all have a lot of work to do, keep in touch if you have any further information. I'll take my leave now, I said, and headed out of the room. As for how the investigation went, from the Academy's perspective, we discovered a connection between the anomaly and the past Warcraft incidents, learned the Green Alliance's hidden secrets, and gained a wealth of intelligence related to the L. We've done a pretty good job. From my own perspective, nothing's settled yet. What's the truth behind the Warcraft and the Dark Creature? What will the L do next? Will it cause trouble for us or even the wider community? We can't be sure yet, so we can only wait and see. Not long after, I left the Green Alliance's branch base and encountered two familiar figures along the way, Linton and his sister, Lin Qing, members of the Green Alliance with whom we've collaborated before. When we met, I asked, "Are you all okay?" Hearing this, Lin Qing replied, "As you can see, we're all perfectly fine, that's just from a physical standpoint. There are countless other issues. Many in the Alliance are injured, and potential problems are erupting. Fortunately, some of the people around us are okay and haven't suffered serious injuries," Linton said. "Is that so? You fought tooth and nail to do what you had to do. Your heroic decision must have made things better," I asked. "What are you talking about?" Linton asked, puzzled. "I still remember the worried look on your face, worried about your sister. That has something to do with her being here safely now, don't be like that." "I didn't actually accomplish anything," Linton said, clutching the back of his head. This made Lin Qing laugh. "Anyway, I plan to check on those people next." "Are they all okay?" I said. "Those three? They're fine so far. It seems they really want to see you, really." With that, we passed each other, heading in different directions. Hongmei and the others who had been carrying out follow-up work were preparing to leave this morning. The only person missing was Xianyu, a crucial figure who had recently been tasked with monitoring the experimental subject in the cave. She, the person in charge of that mission, had vanished. This significant turn of events had rendered the mission largely unsuccessful, posing a serious challenge in finding her or the experimental subject. She was often elusive, and her involvement in this mission was a spur-of-the-moment decision. She wasn't a professional. Ultimately, leaving her with the task was probably a mistake. The only silver lining for this mission was that the device was still in Hongmei's possession. Whether or not it would be useful was another matter. I didn't want to dwell on it anymore. I could simply call this mission a failure. In the helicopter, Hongmei suddenly asked, "Who directly contributed to our failure during the previous obstacle?" Hearing this, Shidan, who was beside him, said, "I think it was Xianyu and the students from that academy." "I think it was you, Hongmei," Zula said suddenly from behind. Hongmei smiled and said, "In that case, I should consider other ways to survive." On the border of the new century capital, there was a vast expanse of green, surrounded by mountains and water. On the edge of a high mountain, Xianyu, who had left on the way, sat on a piece of land there, admiring the scenery. The sun gradually rose. Today was a beautiful day. A different aura lingered around her. It was the existence known as the experimental subject, a special being named the five-color dark moonlight. "Those who wanted to capture you have mostly left," Xianyu said. "That's right. I'll be here for a while." "Thank you for your guidance," Wuke Dark Moonlight responded. "That's fine, but don't think you can gain sympathy just by appearing like a child." At this moment, Wuke, in the form of a young girl, hid in front of Xianyu. "Someone's coming." Xianyu realized that someone was approaching from behind. Slowly standing, Xianyu looked behind them. A woman with long red hair, standing on the edge of a cliff not far away, stared silently at them. She was someone Xianyu recognized unexpectedly and didn't seem to be associated with L. At that moment, she leaped from the cliff and approached Xianyu. "You are Guan, Cheyenne Yu said, but was interrupted halfway. To the girl who knew her real name, Guanling responded, "Don't call me by my real name, Cheyenne Yu, really? You really don't like that? Why did you come here today, in front of me?" Cheyenne Yu asked. "I was attracted by the power. I don't have any particular reason to come. Is it the one on me?" "That's right. I felt a strange feeling on your body." "What is that?" "It's been a long time since we last met. You seem to have changed a lot." "That's you. You are not as straightforward as before," Cheyenne Yu said. "There's nothing I can do about it. To survive in this society, it is necessary to make some changes," Guanling said. "Have you said everything you wanted to say, you who have changed, or are you interested in the one next to me?" "No, it was really just a coincidence this time. That one is still a little different from what I'm looking for, so I don't need it." Facing the red-haired girl in front of him, it might develop into a competition. In Cheyenne Yu's impression, she is a person who pursues power very much, so it is indeed a relief to be able to avoid it. "I'm relieved you said that. I thought there would be a fight or something. It was just a joke. Take care," Cheyenne Yu said, and left for another place. "You too," Guanling followed suit. Meeting with a long-lost friend, and then leaving just as quickly, was part of life. It made people stop laughing, and they had to start their own journeys again. Chapter 205: A New Beginning in Winter. The seasons change, and now it's winter. In this city, people are donning layers of outerwear to protect themselves from the cold, and some animals are hibernating. Somewhere in the world, there must be an ideal place where spring feels like spring year-round. Sadly, that's not the case here. Although the weather was nice today, there was still a chill, the arrival of winter. After our mission, we returned to our academy lives, and that's still the case now. I'm currently en route to Holy Water Spirit Academy with my sister. We soon arrived at the academy entrance and saw students dressed in a variety of attire, some wearing scarves, others in winter coats. My sister, too, was wearing a scarf. "Brother, what's the most exciting thing about this season?" Shuho asked. "Spring arriving soon," I casually said. "Isn't that Christmas, and snow?" said the two people following behind us, Yuzayan and Yufan. "Are you all right now?" I said. "Yes, thanks to you, but Pingman is still recuperating today," Yuzayan said. Shuho looked at the two in front of her, puzzled, and asked, "Brother, who are those two?" "Brother? I really don't know. A mentor has a sister, that's a very common thing." "She's Li Shuho," I said. Yuzayan and Yufan then introduced themselves to her. "In other words, we're actually close to Senior Shuho now. There's nothing to worry about," Yufan explained, shaking her hand. "You're right. You mentioned snow. I'm looking forward to it too," Shuho agreed. "Yes, after all, it's a rare sight for me, and Christmas," Yuzayan said. Shuho nodded in agreement, and the others headed towards the teaching building. "The shops and streets will be glittering, and many children's dreams will come true," Yuzayan said. Two younger students approached, one of whom said, "Then, whether it's cold or snowy, it won't be a problem." The two with short, golden hair were Fengchu and Fengling, who appeared to be sisters. "Yes, this year we should have a fun Christmas ball, don't you think?" Yuzayan asked. "That's certainly possible this year," Fengchu replied. Then, the others headed to their respective classrooms. They were discussing that for these students, a grand winter day was a special occasion, and our class was no exception. The academy was holding a party on Christmas Eve, and the students were naturally eagerly anticipating it. One could imagine some performances. "Everyone, we're almost here, right?" a student said. The students next to him confirmed, and he continued, "Gentlemen, for us, this third year is already our last. Those who continue next year will hardly be able to gather together again. So, on this grand occasion, we will do our best to spend this final Christmas Eve of love and sorrow." The student statement received considerable applause, and indeed, it was something everyone in our class agreed with, even though he was on the verge of tears. There were also those, like Chikuka, who remained unmoved or uninterested. "By the way, everyone, what are some Christmas Eve program proposals? It's almost time," the student said. Hearing this, the students began to discuss. Then, a red-haired man stood up, slammed the table, and said, "Is there even any need to ask? That night's program is a fateful showdown between Xingze and me." With that, everyone's interest quickly waned. The students then asked, "Any other suggestions?" "Well, instead of Lin Hongguang, Wouldn't we organize Qin Liang from another class to have a fateful showdown with Xingze on Christmas Eve? A girl suggested. At this, everyone's eyes lit up and cheered. That would truly be intense, full of fate, a showdown of memories and growth over 3 years. That should definitely be the grand finale, right? Students came one after another. A student asked me what I thought. I said, if you have the time, you can join us. Everyone cheered, as if the only remaining issue was Qin Liang's. Wait, your ignorance is truly baffling. Xingze and I were destined rivals before we even entered this academy, the red-haired man interjected. Despite his high spirits, he was still largely ignored. The students debated, and the bell rang, with the teacher entering the classroom around the same time. Nearly 3 years had passed, and our teacher remained the same, his appearance unchanged. Everyone, I heard you discussing the Christmas program from far away in the hallway. If you have any opinions, please calm down and speak slowly in class, Wu Feng said. So, that night the red-haired man was about to stand up to give his speech when a female student's scarf struck him in the face, stopping him short. That night, it seems Xingze and Qin Liang would be the more interesting finale, the scarf-throwing woman said. Also, there's the masquerade and the like, the students said in quick succession. They offered numerous suggestions, many of which were related to movies or online experiences. Anyway, based on the feasible options, we'll make a final decision after a week of careful consideration. From then on, classes will resume as usual, Wu Feng said after the discussion. Then, the students calmed down and began their morning classes during lunch break. I planned to look for Guanling. It had been a while since I last saw her, so I headed to the corridor on the other side of the 3rd floor. Somewhere there was a storage area for old books and other items, one of her frequent stops at the academy. I walked down the corridor to the door of the storage room and entered, but she wasn't there. Finding her today wasn't a problem, but for a while, we hadn't been able to contact each other on the phone. Her phone was often down or out of signal. Guanling must be working hard on something she wants to do, but she couldn't tell me. This has always been the case. She's adaptable and knows that even if she tells me something, she'll be rejected. She made her decisions based on understanding my situation. It was always her own secret. A girl with many mysteries. She and I are still the same as always. I don't quite understand what she thinks, but I will still help her wherever I can. But now, I can't even confirm where she is, so I started looking for her. Chapter 206 What I'm Looking For. At night in the city, in the 15th district, the air quality was not very good due to the heavy dust and sand. However, thanks to the greening of the area over the past few years, the air quality has improved slightly. Desert Town, as it was once called, is now called, and its character has remained largely unchanged. It is one of the oldest scenic spots. That night, a light snowflake drifted slowly over the town. Guanling was wandering around the area, a frequented spot for criminals. Now, while operating here, Guanling was searching for her target. The target had no physical features, their appearance, age, or gender were unknown. Finding the target seemed difficult under these circumstances, but it wasn't. The target's characteristics, or rather, its existence, were extremely rare and had no fixed form. Therefore, the object she was looking for actually had to be determined by herself, whether it was the place she was looking for. As Guanling was wandering, she felt it. The scent of the target, the object she was looking for, was not far away, though she still had to go and confirm it. This wasn't her first time, and the accuracy of her feeling was uncertain. Her subtle perception confirmed that her target lay in the nearby harbor, so she quickly headed in that direction. The streets were sparsely populated that night, making her movement convenient. With a single swift movement, she sprinted down one side of the street, deftly navigating obstacles and scaling walls. She quickly found the edge of the harbor, a deserted area where only certain individuals came to collect or dispose of trash. There, Guanling spotted her target, a man in his 30s, wearing a well-worn black coat and long bangs. At the same moment, the man noticed Guanling turning toward him, and his eyes, still tinged with anger, glared at her, revealing a man still in a state of rage. A moment of silence passed between them, before Guanling broke the silence, saying, "What a terrifying look! You devoured a human not long ago, didn't you?" The man could sense the lingering murderous intent. "You know, are you here to capture me, or are you close to me? There's a saying in this world, birds of a feather flock together. I met you because I have something similar in me, and that's true. It's more like a companion. Companion? Is it the companion of that monster? I understand. I'm not interested in you, but I'm interested in the one inside you. Let me see. Hey, you're going to be killed, young lady, the man said. As he spoke, a black aura emanated from his body. Several black, tentacle-like objects slowly extended out. The creature that extended like a snake slowly opened its eyes. A single eye. The infinitely splitting demonic eye. That's it. This was what Guanling needed, so she had found it. Why do you look so happy? I can't suppress that monster's power anymore. It's about to go berserk, and you're doomed. That's what I want. Give it to me. Don't be ridiculous, young lady. You don't know what that is, do you? It's a monster that drives people crazy, the dark-haired man said. The black object wrapped around him transformed into a black dragon, leaping out towards Guanling. She drew her sword and leaped from the ground to avoid it. I understand, so I'll help you free tonight. How do you understand? The dark-haired man roared. Instantly, the black object transformed into colorless swords, scattering out towards Guanling. Under the red sword's flames, they all resisted the black attack, like venomous snakes. The deflected swords continued to writhe slowly on the ground, hard and powerful. They were all part of the monster. At this moment, the one-eyed monster pounced again. Guanling leaped up, approached the monster, and pierced its body with her sword. At this moment, a red energy permeated the monster's body, causing it to become extremely agitated and twisted. On the other side, the man who had been connected to the connection did the same. He collapsed to the ground, clutching his abdomen, as if someone were churning inside him, making him foam at the mouth. Under the intense pain, the monster within the man transformed, instantly emerging from the man's body and, with the power of the sword, returning to Guanling's red sword. Look, I've recovered it for you, Guanling said. The man who had fallen to the ground slowly rose and looked up at the girl before him. As she had said, the strange feeling within him had temporarily disappeared. Really, it's gone. Did you absorb it? But if so, you'll be living in agony for the rest of your life, uncle. The monster is gone. Do you think that means you're alright? That's not right. The source of your suffering is your own. You seem to be putting all the blame on that thing. Do you really think that's the case? Yes, what's wrong? Without that thing, I could live a normal life. No, you're just putting all the blame on that thing. That's why you're so weak. Your weakness will only bring more trouble in the future. Just take care of yourself. I just retrieved a monster, Guanling said, slowly disappearing from the man's sight. Watching the girl walk away, the man couldn't help but wonder. Could it be true? The root of his problems had clearly been eradicated, so why? Why didn't he feel at ease? Instead, he felt empty, a sense of panic. Was he misperceiving things? Was he mistaking the root of the problem? He was gradually realizing the frenzied, multifaceted feelings that were constantly eroding him. Was that something he should suppress? Unbelievable. In a flash, he saw many of his inner questions, feeling the daunting prospect ahead at Holy Water Spirit Academy. My days continued. As the students had said, this year was the last for the class together, and I continued to work as usual. Things were gradually changing. Lately, I've been observing the situation here, as well as the overall state of the city. I've been able to gather quite a bit of secret intelligence, given the many people lurking in the shadows and working in all walks of life. I've been putting all that together and considering what to do best. My days here have been based on completing missions, but to do that, I must find something more meaningful to do. For now, I'll be taking a break for a while, and I'll continue to observe. In recent days, I've been keeping a close eye on Guanling, trying to find any trace of her, but she seems nowhere to be found at home or at the academy. I could only carry on with my days, feeling hopeless and helpless. But before I knew it, Guanling quietly reappeared in my sight. On Friday, which was close to the weekend, I had the opportunity to talk to her, so we chose to have some conversation in that old study. At noon that day, we sat down at the desk there one after another. After sitting down, I said, Guanling, where have you been recently? I can't contact you at all, Xingze. I saw that you called me many times. It was really touching when I looked through your phone. You didn't do that before, Guanling chuckled. No, unconsciously, I think you have been more free recently. What have you been doing recently without telling me? No, don't worry, I'm not unfaithful wherever I go. I'm loyal, Guanling said. What I want to ask is what you did. Wait, that's annoying. Don't doubt me so much. If you really want to know, why not tell you on Christmas Eve this year, on that romantic day, and do that? Guanling used subtle words to perfunctorily pass the question. She seemed to want me to give up. I knew she didn't want to tell me now, so it was difficult for me to say anything else. Forget it, you just can't tell it anyway. I understand that people always have secrets that are better left unsaid. Let me just remind you that I will take different actions next. Even if I know your secret, be prepared for this. Hearing this, Guanling finally disappeared, and said with a normal expression, "It's not that I don't trust you, it's just that the timing and time for some things haven't come yet. I'll tell you then." I see. In short, be cautious and don't do anything too extreme, otherwise, Xingze, I know you treat me well, so you believe me too. We love each other. Guanling came to my side and said. There was no point in saying anything more. The conversation ended here, and we left here soon after. Chapter 207 Freshman's Daily Life. Abnormal? What is abnormal? Can I sense it? I can't sense it. I can't sense what's happening to Guanling in the afternoon. The last 2 classes were free time. Since it was approaching Christmas, most students were discussing this topic. It was everywhere, almost dizzying. Most students were very interested. There were many participants in the Christmas program, and many classes were discussing what to do. There were also people like me who had no interest. At least I knew Chikuka was my friend. I hadn't thought about what to do for the holiday. If I had to do it, I'd leave it to those who were more experienced. My best option was to just observe. Students had a lot of freedom these days. Different classes or grades could easily enter different classrooms. It seemed like an interesting activity for some. Many classes had even started preparing props. That finally gave me something to do. It was also time for Guanling and I to work together. There was nothing else I could do, so I started working with her. Our job involved going to the surrounding storage locations to retrieve the appropriate materials. Guanling was the most knowledgeable about this area, as her work often revolved around it. She was well versed in the locations and usage of the items. On such a rare occasion, the Academy unexpectedly needed to release many of its treasured props for the students to use. We were the ones who had to deal with it, while Guanling mostly worked alone. I had no choice but to help, even though I didn't know the point of it. This academy is huge, and the collection is no less than your average shopping mall. You really know this place well, I said casually. That's not something I can help. I've been here a long time, at least 5 years. Through a series of trips to specific storage rooms to retrieve items and then find their proper locations, we accomplished one task. Beyond that, there were still many other tasks to be done. While they weren't missions that needed to be completed within a certain time frame, not many people were capable of such tasks. That was probably Guanling's specialty. At the same time, several first-year students, led by Pingman, including Yufan and Yuzianan, were heading towards the third-year classrooms. They wanted to use this opportunity to meet with their instructors, whatever they could. Today, they made no attempt to disguise their presence, arriving openly and honestly, all 3 in good spirits. They soon arrived at the third-year hallway. Pingman, in the lead, first wanted to show his instructor his situation, greet him, and express his gratitude for his rescue and safe return. As they walked along the hallway, they soon spotted the instructor. Pingman trotted over to greet him, and within a few steps, he was standing in front of Xingze. Instructor, Pingman was about to continue when he noticed a woman standing next to the instructor. The woman looked young, with long red hair, and was likely a beautiful girl. However, Pingman had met her before, and he remembered exactly when and what had happened. It was during a period of trouble between Pingman and Weiyang that this woman had appeared. Through forceful means, she had extracted considerable intelligence from Weiyang, a terrifying figure. That person was now right before Pingman's eyes, next to instructor Xingze. Pingman was speechless at the sudden sight of that person, so Yuzianan and Yufan approached him. Yuzianan asked, "What's wrong?" "Pingman, are you so moved by seeing your beloved instructor that you can't speak?" "Not really." Pingman glanced at me, then at Guanling, who was standing next to me. Seeing this, I couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong? Did the person next to me do something?" "By the way, Senior Xingze, who's that person next to you?" Yuzianan asked. Aside from Pingman, the other 2 hadn't seen Guanling. "In the past, just like me before you, she was my teacher. Now, we're essentially equals." "Her name is Guanling," I replied. "No way, I can't tell." Surprisingly reserved, Yuzayanan exclaimed in surprise. No, I'm just an ordinary woman, Guanling greeted me. Please give me your guidance. I'm Yuzayanan, and I'm a junior fellow student of Senior Xingze, a first-year student, Yuzayanan said warmly. Yu Fan seemed less forthcoming. While her style was inherently similar, perhaps there were subtle differences. This lay in the young woman next to her mentor, Guanling. At least one danger signal was being detected. Guanling, looking towards Pingman, chuckled softly. Please give me your guidance, too, please give me your guidance, Pingman replied. Though the smile was natural, it struck Pingman as unusual, as if to say that the correct approach was to accompany me in the performance. Yu Fan then bowed respectfully, as if to a senior. Senior, are you busy right now? Yuzayanan asked. Not really. I was delivering some supplies to some classrooms, so I'm not pressed for time, I said. Miscellaneous chores, why don't we help out? Hearing this, Guanling said, let's save it for later. We're planning to rest soon, really? If so, since you're busy and need to rest, we won't disturb you. We'll leave first, Yuzayanan said, approaching the two people behind. Excuse me, Yuzayanan said, leading the two in another direction. Pingman and Yu Fan both nodded and walked away. I didn't quite understand why they suddenly left, but it must have something to do with Guanling. Guanling was an acquaintance of Senior Xingze, so Pingman seemed more reassured about her. Since she was his friend, there shouldn't be any problems, so he could just pretend he hadn't met her. He just missed a rare opportunity to express his gratitude. It was probably because she was an acquaintance of their mentors that Yuzayanan and Yu Fan readily accepted her. To be honest, if they treated her as a stranger, she would probably be someone who wasn't easy to approach. Actually, that girl named Guanling should be the instructors, Yuzayanan suddenly said. What? Yu Fan asked, puzzled. Girlfriend, is that so? Yu Fan seemed slightly surprised. It's okay. Even if she's a girlfriend, the instructor is still our instructor. It's just that when he said he was leaving, he was judging the atmosphere, Yuzayanan said. That's right, Yu Fan agreed. The three of them had come to a temporary halt on their journey to the third-year teaching area. The academy's scheduled classes for the day had concluded, and the students had gone home, including my sister and me. But Guanling wasn't like that. After school, the sun set, and the winter nights arrived early. Guanling waited by the windowsill in a corner. A moment later, a young man arrived as scheduled. It was Pingman, whom I had met not long ago. It was Guanling's invitation, a text message sent after finding his number in the address book. Seeing Guanling before him, Pingman asked, Senior Guanling, you're here to talk to me about something. It must be about what happened that day, right? Well, it's actually very simple. We'll keep each other's secrets. I think this is better for us in many ways, really? I agree, it's really not a big deal, so it's settled, Guanling said. As she said, it wasn't anything important, just something she mentioned in passing. What that matter is, I don't know. At this moment, another figure quietly approached from the side. It was Yu Fan. Yu Fan, Pingman, didn't you just tell someone to come? Guanling sighed. Don't blame him. I came without permission, Yu Fan explained. That wouldn't be nice. Anyway, the matter is over, and I don't want to say anything more. I still don't understand what I want to ask. What was that matter? Yu Fan asked. Hearing this, Guanling said, if you can keep it a secret, ask Pingman. Then she walked past the two of them. Wait a minute, Senior Guanling, I have other questions I want to know. May I ask who are you? Yu Fan asked. May I ask who are you? Such questions are indeed difficult to answer. I am a girl named Guanling. It's okay if you think so. There is no problem. You are the most difficult, dangerous person I have ever met. That's too direct. Whether you think so or not, it's your business and has nothing to do with me. Sorry, I accidentally said something rude. I did say something wrong, Yu Fan admitted his mistake. It's okay. After saying that, Guanling left. Chapter 208 Preparations for the day. After that, my sister and I returned home. For the time being, I couldn't intervene in Guanling's affairs. It was already evening when we got home, and the sky was dark. We had dinner as usual, then went about our own business. From what I could see, my sister Shuhu wasn't doing anything special. When she had nothing else to do, she usually watched TV or chatted with others. Although she looked ordinary, the difficulty lay in the fact that she was actually a rare individual, labeled a shining figure by many. Even so, she remained no different from ordinary people. In my eyes, she was the epitome of the ordinary. It might be a bit rude to say this, but she was also diligently practicing cultivation, which she occasionally did now, tempering her mind and increasing her healing powers. She was still working hard, after all. Lan Yu, on the other hand, was different. She practiced relentlessly, regardless of weather, and made steady progress. Sometimes I thought she had made significant progress, but whenever I met her, I couldn't see the same. Perhaps we still had some distance to go. Lan Yu, though a pure and unassuming girl, is a person who constantly strives for progress. Unlike the rest of us, who often experience ups and downs, she possesses incredible perseverance, and perhaps even a tremendous aspiration. When I asked her what she wanted to do, she seemed to be interested in inheriting someone's dojo in a few years, but that wasn't a must. She was currently sitting quietly in her room, reading some related books. Watching them, I couldn't help but wonder if I was the one who was falling behind. I planned to take a bath and then begin my cultivation. Lan Yu and I are no longer disciples of the same school, and we've come to terms with that. After a short shower, I was about to return to my room to read some materials when I saw Lan Yu emerge. Xingze, the air in the city has been bad lately. I think you should be more careful. Is this a premonition? I asked. It's probably something that's about to happen. I have a feeling it's connected to you, so I'm reminding you to work hard and not waste your time. Okay, I've got it all, I said. We crossed paths and I returned to my room. I had been planning to gather information, but I decided against it. Following Lan Yu's advice, I decided it was better to just focus on my daily practice. I spent the weekend as usual. Pingman and the others, who lived close to the academy like me, were also carrying out their activities today. Next to Xingze Academy, there's a small plot of land that serves as a special student dormitory. As the sun rose on this morning, the three of us were discussing the upcoming holidays and the winter supplies we were about to buy. But before that, I have to mention what happened earlier. Yu Fan discovered the secret between Pingman and Guanling and confessed it. The safety issues involved did indeed make Pingman feel guilty, but from a perspective of the outcome, nothing major had happened. The three of them believed that no matter who Guanling was, she was close to the instructor, and that made everything easier to resolve. The three of them were sorting things out in the hall. Yuzayanan, seeing Yu Fan looking thoughtful, asked, Yu Fan, do you have any other questions? I won't say much about that person, but we're already in a state of betrayal, and they've taken quite a few people with us, Yu Fan explained his concerns. That class, practically everyone, had entered a new territory. We were now under the management of the higher-ups within this academy or above. This was thanks to the help of Li Xingze and the higher-ups within the academy. The academy was very welcoming, so accepting so many students seemed like a good idea. It was a prestigious institution after all. Upon hearing this news, the students naturally joined them, a shift in focus. The majority supported the three of them, and as many believed, the environment here was better than there. It's okay. When things get tough, we can still find something to do on our own, right? Yuzayanan said. That's right. Now we can't just be the three of us, there are other companions. Well, this is a new beginning, Pingman said. I've agreed with Feng Chu and Fengling to go shopping together later. We haven't packed a lot of winter supplies yet, so hurry up and finish your groceries. We'll be leaving soon, Yuzayanan said. The three of them quickly packed up and prepared for their brand new weekend. Area 37, North District, houses a branch of the L research base underground. With a successful introduction of the elements here, L has become more legitimately established in this corner of the city. This is a brand new base, a converted abandoned factory, but it's finally a foothold in the city. Currently, a researcher named Dr. Lark is in charge of management here. Dr. Lark is a veteran of the Elemental Organization and one of the original researchers. He is in his early 50s. He has messy hair and a slanted, sharp gaze, making him look a bit scary, but he's a very skilled experimenter. He's currently one of the management and operations staff here. At this moment, he was sitting in front of the main computer screen, drinking tea. At this time, a white-haired man with bright spinning hair came over from the other side and said, Dr. Lark, according to the previous news, many young users of elements have abandoned us. Really? This is within my expectations. For those young people, the new century capital is more attractive than our dark place, isn't it? Dr. Lark said. Then what do you think we should do? Let them go, or rather, abandon them. Abandon? Well, They are the initial products of the experiment, aren't they? Without them, a new generation will come anyway. Hearing this, the white-haired man couldn't help but lower his head, and then said, "You are really heartless. Forget it. Even if a new generation is born, if the educational policy is not done well, it will only be a semi-finished product. The black education received here is only accepted by a few people. They are already incomplete. Do you want me to tell you where the incompleteness is? By who?" Dr. Lark said. He was silent about this, and Dr. Lark said, "It's emotion. That's unnecessary. Enough. I'd better go first," Bai Hua said. Then he left to the other side. "Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, Bai Hua. There's still one person we need to retrieve," Dr. Lark suddenly said. Hearing this, Bai Hua stopped and turned around and asked, "Who is it?" "It's Pingmen." "Pingmen? I had intelligence about him before, and it seems like he won't be coming back." "Really? There's really nothing we can do. We can only prepare some bait," Dr. Lark said, and the other man walked to the other side. Chapter 209 The beginning of the day. With the arrival of a new week, we returned to the academy to begin a new week for us students. Since a week had already passed and the holiday was only 5 days away, falling on Friday, not only the academy but the streets had already entered festive mode. There were Christmas trees, decorated with many glittering objects, like cloisonne. When we arrived at the academy's gates, Shuho and I could see quite a few people working on festive decorations for the academy, not just staff members but students as well. Many people were interested in this, and we then headed to our classrooms, which had also begun decorating from that day forward. Just like the streets outside, people were buying all sorts of sparkling things. They weren't real cloisonne, but that was Christmas. As soon as we entered the classroom today, we saw the class monitor, who had short blue hair. She was holding a cardboard box that seemed to contain some props. We met and I asked, "Lin Kin, are you busy?" "Not too busy, not too busy. Just let me know if you need any help." "We're all free," I said. "Yes," Shuho replied. "You're really reliable. If you're not here when I need you, I'll use my authority as class monitor to bring you back to help," Lin Kin said. Then she walked away, and we returned to our respective seats. The power of the class monitor should not be underestimated. I must have failed to help here before. Mingming was still considering staying here in the future. "I'm so sorry." Not long after, Jin Jiuhe arrived, and then the bell rang, and the teacher arrived. Teacher Wu Feng quickly arrived at the familiar podium and began the class ceremony. After a respectful greeting, the class began. As everyone knows, Christmas is approaching. According to our school's tradition, we're holding a party. It's really about reflecting on everyone's achievements over the past year, expressing gratitude, and thanking the heavens and the earth. So, decorating the classroom or school beautifully on a day like this is a good deed. Don't just treat it as fun. Next up, it's time for everyone in the class to get involved. Everyone should at least contribute a little, whether it's decorating, cleaning, putting on a smile, or expressing gratitude. The students agreed. "Teacher, how are the holiday activities going?" a student asked. "We have a lot of ideas, but we'll adjust the projects later and try to make them run smoothly. Don't worry about it, it's definitely the best option, regardless of whether we're involved or not, okay?" And the class continued. The school days continued, and day by day, the school and each class's decorations were gradually completed. According to the teacher, everyone in the class had participated to varying degrees, and now it was time to prepare for the day. Generally speaking, things went smoothly, in most classes, especially in the special classes, but not everywhere. On the morning before Christmas Eve, an anonymous letter was found in Pingman's locker. A light snow fell from the sky, making it seem dark. Pingman opened the letter in a deserted area and examined its contents. He quickly realized it was no ordinary letter, but rather one from the L, where someone had infiltrated and left it there. It wasn't a letter to be happy about, it also contained a photo of someone, which he quickly pocketed. As the sky looked like now, things in the world are never as we wish. Soon, Yu Zianan, Feng Chu, and Fengling arrived at the academy. Seeing Pingman, Yu Zianan asked, "What's wrong, Pingman? Are you waiting for us?" "No, it's just a coincidence. By the way, it's snowing today, making it even colder than usual." "Isn't it cold?" Yu Zianan said. "You're right, it's very cold. Let's get to the classroom," Pingman said. Then, they all headed towards the classroom. There's only one day left until the festival, and our class's program has been decided. To foster your relationships with more students at this academy, you'll be organizing some friendly activities with the Mecha team, Teacher Shi Yufan said during class. Oh, is it decided, so we can go on stage? Right now, the elements are relatively new, but you're no different from the other students. Just a little show of friendship will be enough, Shi Yufan said. Okay, many students agreed. This might be a great opportunity for them to integrate into this environment. After all, from now on, they'll no longer be constrained by that organization. Therefore, it's truly something worth celebrating. However, not everyone is happy. For example, Pingman and another relatively low-key boy, Yuan Zioshi. From Shi Yufan's observation, while he's been integrating well and getting along well with his classmates, he just doesn't seem very happy yet. Let's do a rehearsal later. In many ways, you're all new to this kind of event, so let's do it this way, Shi Yufan said. As she said, the students had no objections. Then came Friday, the day of the grand ceremony, which also happened to be Christmas Eve. This morning, before Shuho and I left for the academy, we were discussing today's events with Lanayu. Because today's festival was open to students from other academies, Shuho was trying to get Lanayu to come along. Aren't you going, sister? Well, I'd like to, but they need me for something, Lanayu said. Her academy needed her, too. It was one of the prestigious Silver Academy, and she was well known there. Really? Then there's nothing we can do, Shuho said. If you have any questions, please contact me, Lanayu said. Then we prepared to leave for the academy. After a while, we arrived at the academy's gate. Today, the academy's exterior had been beautifully decorated. In the distance, a huge Christmas tree stood, attracting many students. Let's go check out the Christmas tree, Shuho suggested. I had nothing else to say, so I nodded. After all, it was right before my eyes. As I started walking, I spotted another young man, Qin Liang. Seeing us, he came over and greeted us, saying, "Good morning, Xingze and Shuho. We've been missing for a while." We nodded in agreement, and I said, "That's right, Qin Liang, I haven't seen you much lately. Are you on a mission?" "Yes, I was on an investigation mission not long ago, but it just so happened that I happened to be there today," Qin Liang said. "That's great." During this conversation, many students couldn't help but look in our direction, because the Christmas Eve showdown that had been rumored not long ago had them all preoccupied. "Are you guys really going to compete tonight?" one student asked. "Who knew?" "The organizers said some of tonight's programs are confidential," Qin Liang said. Then we each headed to our classrooms. Part of the morning was spent studying, and starting at 10 a.m., the opening ceremony of the conference began. After a while, the students made their way in an orderly manner to the college's venue, which was used for large meetings or projects. It was about the size of a football field and was where the opening ceremony took place. The students arrived, fully dressed, and stood in rows in front of the venue. Then it was time for the principal's speech. The old man took the stage and said, "This is a reminder. What have you done over the past year? How much meaningful work have you done? How much time has been wasted? First, you should reflect on whether your skills have improved, whether your moral character has improved, and whether you are clear about what you are doing. Don't dwell too much on the bad behavior of those around you. Focus on your own cultivation. The end of the year marks the arrival of a new year, and also a year of gradual growth for you." At this moment, several students, including Qin Liang, approached the podium. They are role models of our college. Anyone who has been in this college for a while would have heard of Qin Liang and the three people beside him. Qin Liang, in particular, is a role model, as are the other three. The students applauded. People on the verge of success often have a sense of humility on their faces, while those on the verge of failure are troubled and confused, obscured by arrogance and anger. This college should cultivate a spirit of humility. These four are excellent students. Let's learn from their strengths in the new year. The students applauded again. After a while, the principal left, and the assembly began. Today is the end-of-year review and reflection, and as is customary at the academy, we have our annual recreational activities. Please enjoy them while maintaining good etiquette and order. The students then gradually departed for their various locations. There were numerous student-run programs nearby, offering some leisure time. I followed suit, and the various programs would likely begin in the afternoon and evening. During this time, while the students were enjoying themselves, I had nothing in particular to do, so I just wandered around with my sister as afternoon faded into evening. The sky gradually darkened, and a light snowflake began to fall, the chill in the air becoming even more poignant. Amidst the festive atmosphere, somewhere, Yuzayan and Yufan were unable to locate their other companion, Pingman. Despite searching everywhere, they couldn't find him. How strange. I wonder where Pingman has gone, Yuzayan sighed, unable to find him, unable to contact him. Although it was a pleasant evening, and the class program was about to begin, the inability to find the young man made them both concerned. They were at a loss for what to do. It was between the afternoon and the evening party. Let's go back to class and check, and contact the others. Maybe we can find him that way, Yufan suggested. Yuzayan agreed. They headed towards the classroom. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, An Appointment. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the atmosphere of the Holy Water Spirit Academy was abuzz with activity. From outside, the bustle of the campus could be heard, but the street outside was relatively quiet. Pingman had been invited to meet someone at a specific time that day, so he found a gap and quietly left the academy. At that time, the campus was open to all, allowing entry upon notification and application. He left around 5:30 and headed towards a shop entrance 100 meters away. The meeting time was 6 o'clock. Pingman walked alone, snowflakes falling and a chilly wind blowing intermittently. While it was cold, that wasn't what troubled him. After a while, Pingman arrived at a meeting place as instructed in the letter. There were many people milling around, and the street was a beautifully decorated shopping street. In front of the shop, Pingman looked around, searching for his meeting partner. Soon, he spotted the target mission by a sign in front of a storefront. A woman in a black coat with gray hair was waiting there. He approached her and said, "Are you the one who put the envelope in my locker?" "Yes, I asked for some help. You actually showed up, even earlier than the appointment time. You're quite the early bird. You're from the organization." The person before him was about 30 years old, slender, and had met her a few times in the organization before. She seemed to be an agent or something. "I'm Shasha, you can just call me that." "Shasha, are the photo and the contents in the envelope real?" "It's real, no doubt about it." "What are you going to do?" "Not return to the organization." Hearing this, Heyman fell silent. The envelope contained information about Sheila, who had been captured and was being held at an L branch somewhere in the New Century capital. Attached to it was a photo of her, and a message stating that to ensure her safety, she must attend the appointment. Before that, let me ask you a question. Why is Shara being held captive? It seems she failed in a previous mission. Really, the previous mission, the one that concerned him, had taken place at the border of the New Century capital. However, even that alone wouldn't put Shara in serious danger. In Harriman's opinion, the organization valued the girl named Shara, the one who held the title of the strongest spear. Simply put, it was Dr. Lark's invitation, threat, to get you to return to the organization, Shashida said. At that moment, the two stood in silence at a corner of the street. People were still walking, some parents were shopping with their children. Shashida exhaled, a noticeable white mist forming in the air that rose into the sky. She silently waited for Harriman's response. Shashida was a foreigner, presumably employed by the organization. The key point was the man she mentioned, Dr. Lark. Harriman knew Dr. Lark to be a very ruthless and unpleasant person. Therefore, Harriman couldn't help but worry about Shara's safety. "What will happen if I don't go back?" "According to what I've heard, she'll be killed," Shasha said calmly. "That might be unlikely. Sheila wouldn't be killed anyway. It was a trap to lure me in. If I go back, she'll be saved, right?" "Yes," Shasha nodded. "That's not enough," Pingman said. "Why not? If I go back, I have to ensure that the students who grew up in the organization and live in the city besides me are no longer bound by the organization." "Huh?" Shasha was confused. The communicator in her pocket was responding. Shasha pulled it out and flipped the answer button. "It's okay, Pingman, you're back. I won't be controlling the children who grew up with you and are still in the various academies in the city." It was Dr. Lark's voice, probably watching the situation on a screen somewhere. A bug in a camera could solve the problem. "What's your word worth believing?" Pingmanger responded. Now that a new generation is gradually emerging, It doesn't matter if yours is abandoned. You're the only one still worth studying, only me. Yes, I won't hesitate. Believe it or not, I await your reply. New generation, abandonment. Ping-Meng heard many a disgusting line, and that was what was so annoying about Dr. Lark, his inability to understand certain aspects of humanity. I'll go back, and Sheila can be freed. Okay, let her leave here forever, that depends on her wishes. Don't be so arbitrary. Okay, let's go back, Ping-Meng said. Hearing this, Dr. Lark smiled, and the communication was cut off. Shasha put the communicator back in her pocket. It's good to have made up your mind. It saves me a lot of trouble, Shasha said, and drove out of the motorcycle parked in the alley behind. Slowly approaching Ping-Meng, the young man paused in front of the motorcycle for a few seconds. Ping-Meng was about to head to the L branch base. Why was he going? What was his reason? The most crucial point was that photo. Sheila looked extremely reluctant in the photo. It wasn't an act. Besides that, regardless of how much of Dr. Lark's story was true or false, the only thing he had to do was save that person. Ping-Meng climbed onto the back of Shasha's motorcycle. He was about to head to the facility, no longer considering other options. He would go alone. Shasha handed him a helmet, and Ping-Meng immediately put it on, heading towards the track at the entrance of Xingze Academy. The black motorcycle passed by. Despite its speed, someone spotted two figures aboard. It was Feng Chu, a girl with short blonde hair. She had received a request from Xiangnan and was helping to locate Ping-Meng during her break. On the back of the motorcycle that had just passed by Feng Chu was indeed a young man with dark blonde hair and a brown coat. Though only for a moment, Feng Chu was certain of this. The next moment, he ran toward the school gate, looking in the direction the motorcycle had taken. However, the motorcycle's speed was astonishing, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared from Feng Chu's sight. The snow continued to fall, and Feng Chu had no other options. In desperation, he called Yu Xiaonan and the others and told them what he had seen. Chapter 211. Sitting on a black motorcycle. Feng Chu informed Yu Xiaonan and the others of his sighting of Ping-Meng. Meanwhile, Wei Ying, another student in the class, also found an envelope somewhere in Ping-Meng's unclothed uniform pocket, following Yu Xiaonan's instructions. The envelope's contents piqued his interest. He decided to immediately inform Yu Xiaonan and the others at the academy. After all, Ping-Meng was their closest acquaintance. Later, with the help of Wei Ying and the others, approximately 10 students returned to their first-year class. Upon meeting the two, Wei Ying handed them the envelope. Seeing Wei Ying's apparent anxiety, Yu Xiaonan quickly read the envelope's contents and quickly grasped the situation. I've had a feeling something was amiss with Ping-Meng since yesterday, and I think he received this letter around then, Yu Xiaonan explained. The letter requested Ping-Meng's return to the organization, threatening Zula with a threat. The meeting time was 6 p.m. tonight, on the street 100 meters west of the academy. It's 6:20 now. Around 6:12, I saw Ping-Meng and the woman in black riding a motorcycle away, Feng Chu said. Really? That guy just left without saying a word, Wei Ying said. I noticed something strange about Ping-Meng yesterday, and sure enough, he received the anonymous letter around that time, Yu Xiaonan said. I didn't notice anything, Yu Fan said, looking slightly disappointed. The envelope said a person was going. He couldn't tell you, which isn't surprising. The question is where he's going next, Feng Chu said. Yes, he was taken away just now. Maybe he can still make it now. Who can go, teacher, Yu Xiaonan said. I'll go, Lu Guang said. The target is the black motorcycle, the woman in black, and Ping-Meng in a brown coat, Feng Chu said. A woman nearby, Lu Fifei, began to take notes. To address this issue, everyone had no choice but to report the situation to the academy's higher-ups and teacher Xianfen. As a third-year student, I also received this information shortly afterward. The situation seemed urgent, so I said goodbye to Shuhe on the way, leaving her to spend the night with Qianjiuhe. Soon after, I headed for the first-year students' classroom. When I reached the door, I could see they were already bustling with activity. Some were reporting to the academy's leadership, while others were braving the cold to chase the alleged motorcyclist. Before my eyes, Yu Xiaonan and Yu Fan were still there, discussing something. Seeing this, I stepped forward and asked, have you two been taken away, Senior Xingze? As you said, I'm truly sorry to trouble you at this time, Yu Xiaonan said. No, this situation is no different to me than any other time. Is there any way to find him? The woman on the motorcycle carrying Pingman has already gone far away. Wei Ying seems to be pursuing him, but the target's location is still unconfirmed, Yu Fang said. Really? The incident occurred around 6:15, and we're less than 10 minutes away from that point. Let's use the area's surveillance cameras and search. Teacher Shi Yufan approached from the doorway and began dialing the other end of the line, making an emergency call. At Shi Yufan's signal, Lu Fifei handed her the suspect's appearance record. She read the record and reported to her superiors. The target is a woman in a black coat, riding a black motorcycle, with a blonde boy in a brown coat on her back. After this conversation, Shi Yufan ended the call. Anyway, calm down. Pingman is a student of our academy. As the responsible officers here, we will find a way to rescue him, Shi Yufan said. Thank you, teacher. Thank you too, teacher Shi Yufan, I said. Shi Yufan seemed to me to be a stern person. I'd occasionally seen her in the mission room. She was shrewd and likely one of the academy's top brass, but she also seemed like a good teacher. Li Xingze, I appreciate your help with this matter. We might need you to take action next. Are you ready? Okay, just follow my instructions. As usual, I said the evening performance was scheduled for 7 p.m., and it wasn't long before that time. News of the sudden approach and kidnapping incident that occurred during this time quickly spread to the academy's top brass and many of the leading faculty. A decision was being made. Should the evening performance continue? Should the students proceed with the next performance? A senior figure was discussing with Wu Feng, one of the teachers. Do you think so? I think that the sudden incident just now should not be announced to the students first. It is not good to cause a commotion after all. After all, young people nowadays are more impulsive. Let the party continue. It's about to start, yes, but the original program of the party is related to that class. I'm afraid it is impossible for those students in the class to go on stage now, the senior male intelligence officer said. Well, they are not going. Let's change it. Anyway, no one said what they will perform before the party starts, right? Shi Yufan, who had just walked over from the other side, said coldly. Really? I have to think of a solution from the host. It's a pity that the rare opportunity to talk with the students is gone. Teacher Shi Yufan, Wu Feng said to Shi Yufan, this is not the point. Your students are with me now. I'll report it first so that you don't worry. I see. We contacted each other not long ago. Thank you for your concern. Pingman and the others are Xingze's juniors, so there is no problem in letting him go. Please help with the key points. Well, this is my obligation, Shi Yufan said, and went to other places on the upper floors of Holy Water Spirit College, located on the 11th floor of the circular building. The main control computer room was about to enter a switchover mode under urgent instructions. Under the control of the operator, a large screen suddenly appeared with numerous smaller split screens, representing the feeds from the various surveillance cameras in the various areas. Switching complete. Now begin confirming the target. The target is a black motorcycle, with a woman in black riding, and a young man with blonde hair and a brown jacket behind her. Begin confirmation immediately. With these words, several professionals began to review the images on the surveillance screens. According to witnesses, the target is heading from the north. Pay close attention to the various areas leading north and south from Area 8, an operator said. Upon hearing this, everyone observed the images on the numerous surveillance screens. Facing no fewer than 50 screens of footage, everyone diligently monitored them. For 5 minutes, they searched one after another for the target, but they had yet to find someone with such distinct characteristics. The witness, Feng Chui, also stepped in to assist. Okay, operator, increase the surveillance. 183 splits, no. 280 splits, said the bespectacled man, one of the managers in charge behind the group. So, the split screen size might be, what's the limit? 185. That's fine, got it. Immediately, with some manipulation, the split screen instantly shifted, revealing a much larger surveillance feed. Everyone began a new round of surveillance. After some effort, one of them spotted a similar target and pointed to the footage of Area 13, saying, A35, is that the target? The bespectacled man immediately gestured for Feng Chu to confirm. She understood and immediately looked in that direction. A black motorcycle, driven by a woman in black whom she knew, and a blonde boy sitting behind it matched the description perfectly. Feng Chu replied, that's it, the same one I saw before. As soon as he finished speaking, the figure on the black motorcycle faded from the surveillance screen. Damn it, it's gone. Operator, Switch the surveillance feed to Area 13, as many as you can, the bespectacled man said. Upon hearing this, the operator immediately began the operation. The camera then switched to the entire surveillance footage, focusing on the edge of Area 13 and the surrounding area, as determined by the operator. That was definitely the A35, look around there, the bespectacled man said. A moment later, someone shouted, found it, on the A38, on the A39, the man observed their movement and said, she's heading north, and that female motorcyclist is speeding. In this snowy weather, we should ask the nearby traffic police to stop her. As the man spoke, someone nearby called the traffic police. Let's also dispatch the Mecha unit. At 7 p.m., Xingze's black motorcycle was cruising along the roads of Area 13, heading north to Area 37. It was Christmas Eve, and snow was falling. Pingman, aren't you cold? Xingze asked while driving. I can't say I'm not cold, but there's nothing I can do. I can consider slowing down. We still have several hours of travel. I can't stand it anymore. I also have a headache. No problem, I can still hold on to this level, Pingman responded. What he cared about at the moment was not this aspect. Compared with the cold wind, the people who were in prison now were more worrying. That's good, the black motorcycle continued to move forward, and it was still moving according to the route. While driving, Xingze gradually felt the strange sights around her. It was probably her more acute alertness. Now it seemed that someone had set their sights on this motorcycle. Continuing to drive, the sound of alarms could be heard gradually in her ears. The police car seemed to be picking up power. It seems that we are being targeted, really? I don't know. Faced with the unusual air in front of her, Xingze chose not to continue moving forward, but to turn the corner on the side. Continuing forward, she could feel the sound of police cars approaching. After a while, a traffic police motorcycle came from the side and shouted, "Woman in front, you are speeding, stop quickly." Upon hearing this, Xingze ignored it and chose to speed up to get rid of the car. In her opinion, she was most likely being targeted. Chapter 212, Pursuit. The L's research bases is currently located somewhere in Area 37. That's where Harriman is being taken, and recovering him holds special significance. This stems from previous data obtained by the organization, based on the joint research of numerous scientific researchers. Harriman possesses incredible power, manifested in his defensive capabilities. With such formidable defense, this should be the strongest shield, on par with the strongest spear. Harriman's power was discovered in his childhood, during an examination. Its predicted maximum potential will make it difficult to find a power capable of destroying him. Elements are entities that sustain all things, so being indestructible and unshakable is absolute power. Diamond power. His potential was discovered at roughly the same time as Shara's, possessing the strongest defense and attack, respectively. Both were highly valued, and as Shara grew, her abilities gradually blossomed, but Harriman's did not. While the two are likened to spear and shield, their actual relationship isn't so twisted, they share a close bond. Currently, the organization has yet to fully understand Harriman's power. If they could exploit this power as a defensive capability, at least their combat effectiveness would be significantly improved. That what-if topic hasn't materialized yet, so the Hiromano still has some value. Perhaps it's something beyond the elements, and it doesn't matter what it is, the first thing to do is figure it out. Therefore, Dr. Lark used bait, the strongest spear, as bait. Perhaps this time we'll see it. After a while, Xingze sent a communication to the base here. Excuse me, we seem to be being targeted. Doctor, can you think of something to do? On the big screen, Dr. Lark saw Xingze racing and Pingman behind her, so he said, "Is it the traffic police? It's your fault for speeding. I was just speeding. There's really no comparison to what you did. The actual situation is that we are being targeted. If this goes on, I can't guarantee the safe escort of the young man behind us." Really? In that case, I'll find a way to assist you. I'll handle the ground myself, and you think of a way in the sky. After the words fell, the doctor couldn't help but stand up from his chair, ready to do something to help Xingze. After all, if she failed, it would be very troublesome if Pingman didn't come back, although the doctor still believed that since Pingman said he would come back, it was basically a done deal. This is a rare opportunity. Let's send the Chaos Mechas to deal with any trouble in the sky or causing trouble for Xingze. Don't overdo it. Dr. Lark approached a guard and said, who nodded and walked off to the other side. Half an hour later, Shasha was still on the snowy Christmas Eve, speeding down the road. Her black motorcycle sped like a gust of wind, like black lightning. With astonishing speed and maneuvering, she outran many police cars that followed her and those waiting to follow. At one corner, she didn't slow down, turning with a near-drifting motion across the snowy ground. The police cars behind her couldn't help but exclaim in shame, "Damn, that guy is crazy, don't you want to die?" With that skill, she finally managed to shake off her pursuers. Regardless of what the police thought, Shasha simply believed it was the right thing to do. Looking up at the sky, she saw several mechas, ranging in size from 3 to 5 meters, approaching from above. The sky-shaped one, using its wings to accelerate, reached a speed exceeding the motorcycle's limits. As it approached, a warning blared from its loudspeaker, "Stop, black motorcycle ahead. Warning. Halt immediately, or we will take countermeasures." For Shasha, danger seemed imminent. Just as the Mecha's loudspeaker finished its voice, a flash of light suddenly struck from the distance, striking the Mecha from the side. It destabilized, teetering on the brink of collapse, and soon lost its ability to pursue. "Is this electromagnetic interference?" the operator exclaimed. Looking in the direction of the attack, they spotted several mechas nearby. Their bodies were primarily dark, humanoid figures with faint green stripes, and their slender forms resembled warriors. The mechas spread their wings and approached, firing lasers from their forearms to disrupt the pursuing natural-shaped mechas. "Damn! Where did this black guy come from? I've never seen anything like it before. Is it an illegally modified one?" said a pilot. The Air Force from the Holy Water Spirit Academy fought with it in a hurry, and it seemed that they were at a disadvantage due to the surprise attack. Headquarters, requesting support. "We're under attack." News quickly reached the higher-ups at Xingze Academy. Seeing this, the bespectacled man, Hiduoxi, said, "We've been negligent. It looks like the enemy is well prepared. Their mechas appear superior to our intercepting squad. Let's dispatch the elites. Their physiques are between C and E. Is anyone available?" Currently, the elite-level member of the Academy in combat readiness should be Xingze. However, he doesn't appear to have a dedicated mecha yet. Considering the enemy's weaponry and capabilities, he's theoretically at a disadvantage, one person reported. "No, a dedicated mecha has already been developed. It's a C+ physique, an all-rounder. It's scheduled to debut after Christmas, but now seems like a good opportunity," I said. "Really? Then contact student Xingze immediately." As he spoke, I, waiting in the rooftop flat above the other end of the building, received the intelligence about the attack as I had hoped. The time and minute arrived at the same precise moment. She said, "As expected, such an unexpected situation has occurred. All the units dispatched outside have been attacked. It's time for you to go." Xingze, "Really? Since the situation is urgent, I'll go right away," I said, as I was about to head to a unit on standby. Shi Yufan stopped me and said, "Use a new one this time. Come this way." She walked towards the passageway where many units were parked, stopping at a completely sealed cabin. She used the code and card to unlock the cabin, and the cabin opened, puffing out smoke. A cyan blue unit appeared before me, its exterior shimmering with an inner glow and adorned with unique patterns. Judging from its appearance, its performance and materials seemed quite advanced. "This is a special machine prepared for you. Go try it out. Its performance is probably on par with the current top-tier machines. It's the latest development," Shi Yufan said, handing me the key. I took it and nodded, saying, "That looks really nice. I'll try it out first," I said, then leaped towards the open cabin and stepped into the core of the machine. I immediately closed the hatch. The interior also felt pleasant. The machine's construction seemed to use many natural materials, and the interior shone with the brilliance of natural gems. At the top was the power source, a crystal. It was the secret of the natural mecha, allowing the machine to control nature with human will and absorb natural energy. It was also the mysterious substance that allowed my original spirit to possess it. The crystal was placed in the center and protected by multiple layers. It could only be seen by dismantling the machine. The target is in Area 23. Judging from the distance, with this mecha's performance, we should be there in about 5 minutes, Shi Yufan said. I understand. Let's attack first. With that, I activated the mecha with the key. The previously dim screen before me lit up, each button gleaming like a beautiful gem. Since this was my first time, and it was an emergency, I decided to control it with the power of my original spirit. which was far more efficient than using goggles. I immediately activated my energy, and once the energy bar exceeded 60%, I launched, heading towards the nearby sky tunnel. The Mecha had wings, making it incredibly fast, capable of both astronauts and astronauts. After briefly traversing the blue tunnel, the Mecha, gleaming with a brand new brilliance, arrived above the Academy. After confirming my next course of action, I headed north, toward Area 23. Chapter 213 The sky above the 23rd area. The engine's power, filtration, and emissions far surpassed anything I'd driven before. As I sped north, I could clearly feel its stability and coordination. This feeling made me realize it was like a steed finding its way to Boli. It felt like it had been born especially for me, and indeed it was, a dedicated machine. But the fact that it was so synchronized from the start held a different meaning. A moment later, a communication came from the upper levels of Holy Water Spirit Academy, and I could see the man with the glasses, Hiduoxi. He asked, "How's it going? Can you still fly it?" "No problem. I can perform difficult maneuvers anytime." "Really?" "This Mecha's construction uses special blueprints, found in some ruins." "Ruins? I've never heard of that before." "I'll ask later, it's not a big deal. I've applied the core design principles from there, and it just fits the current Mecha perfectly." "What's the name of this Mecha?" "It should be called Azure Heart. You should know since you've already piloted it." "That's right, Azure Heart. It means vastness and purity." "Hurry up. Our troops over there are almost wiped out. If we don't resolve it quickly, the safety of the citizens of Area 23 will be in jeopardy." "Understood." The communication ended, and the higher-ups had already transmitted the raiders' target location to the map in front of me. I could also increase my speed even more. Given the danger, I had no choice but to move faster. Blue-green light particles emanated from its wings, and the Mecha sped forward, constantly breaking through speed barriers, advancing like light and shadow in the 23rd area. Following a sudden attack by an unidentified Mecha unit, alarms rang out over the city, prompting the evacuation of citizens. Many of the city's air defense systems, equipped with them, entered Level 1 air defense mode to defend against the attack. Meanwhile, several Mechas from the Holy Water Spirit Academy were shot down one after another. Some were derailed by enemy weapons, while others, struck by close-range impacts, collapsed on the roadside. The situation in the area was dire, and nearby residents had already fled. Some of the street shops had special impact-resistant exteriors, designed to prevent such incidents. Several dark green humanoid Mechas had nearly defeated the Academy's Mechas. Only one remained, struggling mightily. However, 3 of the enemy Mechas were already stagnant, showing little desire to fight, demonstrating their ease. "Damn it! Who are you? This is a breach of peace. We're just doing our job." The operator of the remaining green Mecha was struck down by a Chaos Mecha's dark blade mid-sentence. "I'm just on official business here, don't blame me." With the assistance of several Chaos Mechas, the black motorcycle piloted by Shaxi gradually disappeared from the crowd's sight. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Chaos Mechas, a blue phantom rapidly approached, appearing in front of the group in a moment. "That's really fast. Is that support from over there?" "No problem. We'll continue to follow the orders and hold off the pursuers. 3 of us are enough here. The rest will follow the black motorcycles, just in case," the driver of a Chaos Mech said. "No problem." As the conversation continued, 3 more Mechas approached me, blocking the left, center, and right, signaling that no further advance would be made. "Who are you? Are you the obstructionists sent by the L?" I asked. "I don't need to explain." Suddenly, one of the Chaos Mechas, wielding a dark blade, charged forward, black smoke erupting. It instantly accelerated, its speed exploding at breakneck speed. In a flash, it closed in, slashing with its dark blade. I dodged to the side. A jewel-like radiating mouth on one hand glowed faintly, unleashing a shockwave of air that pushed the black and dark green Mechas back a distance. Despite the powerful attack, the Chaos Mech, enveloped in a faint black aura, appeared unscathed. I confirmed that this Azure Heart possessed specialized weapons, capable of being deployed from multiple locations within its body. Then, I drew my sword. The blade shone faintly, a faint blue-white glow. At that moment, the enemy attacked again with a hidden blade. I charged at the same moment. With a flash of blue light, I severed the mech's arm with incredible speed, knocking it off balance and crashing, rendering it temporarily unable to fight again. However, a black aura enveloped the remaining mech, as if aiding its recovery. I'd seen a similar sight not long ago. Come to support. That mech is no ordinary creature, said the pilot of the downed Chaos Mech. As he spoke, the two Chaos Mechas on the other side prepared to engage. One unleashed a lightning strike from its rifle, but I dodged it with a sideways movement. The enemy continued firing, and I dodged and blocked, dashing to the mech's front and delivering a swift blow, knocking it down and severing its weapon along with it. Damn it, a Chaos Mech on the other side fired a round from its left weapon, while closing in with a hidden blade in its right. Under the barrage, my blue mech slowly retreated, avoiding most of the bullets, and then fired a white-blue beam from the laser muzzle, striking the enemy. The enemy was knocked down by the impact of its heat. I glanced to the other side. The three Chaos Mechas that had been planning to leave, seemingly drawn to their own side by the loss of their three companions, returned their gaze. They prepared to engage. There's only one of them. Even if it outmatches our individual strength, we must defeat it with a team strategy. With that, the three Mechas spread out in formation. Two of them attacked with long-range electromagnetic lightning and gunfire. I dodged the bullets and approached. Another suddenly deployed a net, attempting to restrict my mech's freedom. The net, equipped with electromagnetic jammers, spread out like a blanket. A white-blue shield formed around my mech. Undeterred by the net in front of it, I charged straight through, disintegrating it. The net shattered in an instant. I advanced to eliminate one of the Chaos Mechas, then used laser beams to accurately shoot down the other two. It was over in a flash. I had originally thought so, but it wasn't. The two more severely damaged Mechas were unable to fight, but the others that had been hit had gradually recovered, regaining some combat capability amidst the black aura. Meanwhile, Dr. Lark, observing the battle from the L distribution base in Area 32, couldn't help but sense something was amiss and ordered, "Damn it! Hold it off for a while. At that speed, it would take almost no time to catch up with Xingze. If they were found, it would be troublesome." So Dr. Lark pondered. The performance of this mech was almost unmatched here. It was probably the super mech that the New Century capital had been hiding. I didn't expect it to be deployed at this time. At this moment, several Chaos Mechas were ordered to surround me, forming a net around me. One of them approached me, aiming for a collision, but I dodged it and shot it down with a shockwave. Three more followed, but were also shot down by a flurry of sword blows. For a moment, the situation looked dire. Dr. Lark complained while contacting other personnel. At this moment, there were few capable of stopping the blue monster. To ensure the mission's success, something had to be done. We have to contact that person. Instantly, the Chaos Mechas were shot down one after another. The security aircraft that followed, after a brief discussion with the Holy Water Spirit Academy's higher-ups, understood the situation and moved to capture the Chaos Mechas. However, upon reaching the downed Mechas, no pilots could be confirmed, 1, 2, 3, or 4. It seemed they were all remotely controlled, and no pilots had been captured. Consequently, the operators hiding in the shadows had already received orders to retreat. Over there, I next sought a black motorcycle and contacted higher-ups. "Where is that motorcycle now?" I asked. During the commotion, it seemed to have taken a coastal route. There aren't many surveillance cameras nearby. They've probably noticed. We're using the search method we're using, really? The coastal route. Convinced of this, I headed in that direction. Chapter 214 Their respective destinations. The black motorcycle Xingze drove through several narrow harbors, taking a secluded route as far as possible to a rough, narrow road at the edge of the coastline. The cold here was even more intense than before, and Xingze had chosen this route for her mission, to avoid pursuers. "Is your driving style okay?" Harriman asked along the way. Her poor acceleration choices even caused many of the pursuing police to cry out in fear. "It's okay, I'm making the right choice. My driving skills are still very good," Xingze said. Harriman didn't know what to say, so he said, "Be careful." After confirming the coastline's location, I headed in that direction with my azure heart. The large blue figure spread its wings and accelerated. Not long after, a black figure appeared before me. It was also a mecha, clad in pitch black. It held a dark scythe in its hand, wore a crescent-shaped crown on its head, and a cloak draped behind its back. It exuded a darker aura than the previous Chaos Mechas. It reminded me of a special being called the Black Death God. I've met someone before, and the mecha he piloted was called that. Rumor has it that he could kill with a single blow. Regardless of the opponent's strength, Victory was often decided in an instant. The symbol of that fatal blow was his scythe. However, I haven't heard anything about him in the past year or two, rarely even appearing in public. It's said he's retired. But now, the mecha before me rekindled my senses. Even so, I had no time to hesitate. Its pitch-black form reminded me of a connection to the previous black mecha. So, the mecha blocking my path was also an obstacle. Who are you? It's nothing. Move over. The other person remained silent, gently waving his scythe in response. This seemed to signal a fight, and without further ado, I unsheathed my weapon, aiming the laser. A flash of white-blue laser light emanated, and the black figure vanished from sight, appearing on the other side in a flash. The beam only partially penetrated a black fog. The opponent moved like a ghost, dodging my strikes one after another. Suddenly, like a black snake stalking its prey, it closed in on me in a serpentine trajectory. The black light of its scythe shone brighter, unleashing greater power. I thrust my sword forward, ready to meet it. As the scythe and sword clashed, the black scythe pierced through, piercing my sword and careening straight down my body. The scythe instantly darted towards my core. Just as it was about to reach the azure heart, the core's blue light shone brightly, counteracting it in a miraculous collision. I generated a defensive barrier to parry the blow. It seemed a little too late, but the machine seemed perfectly synchronized with me, autonomously unleashing its life-saving power. I immediately distanced myself from the opponent. The scythe's range was greater than my sword's, meaning it could strike me while I couldn't reach it, yet it could still reach me, unleashing a miraculous attack. Did you block it? Did that brand new machine help you? In the past, I'd probably be done for, but now, it was definitely not so easy to deal with. Yes, by the way, are you Li Daodan? I asked, hovering in the air. So, I know you, Li Xingze. Why did you suddenly show up today to stop me? I said. I was asked to do this, though I was just killing time. I didn't expect to run into you. Who is the person who asked you to do this? It's a trade secret. Then I don't have time for you. I'm here to stop you, just like them, and make you like that, I said, gesturing to the chaos mech, which was no longer able to fight. Can you do that? For a moment, I engaged the other party in a mid-air exchange. The motorcycle continued to move forward. It was already 8:30 p.m. Perhaps from driving too long, the motorcycle developed some problems. The engine malfunctioned, and the motorcycle skidded on the snow, sliding to the ground in an unsightly manner, crashing to the side. The two people on the motorcycle also fell off, tumbling to the ground. Fortunately, both of them were wearing helmets, and the snow also helped them. Pingman, lying on his side, couldn't help but ask, "Didn't you say you were skilled? What happened?" No, there's always the unexpected. Anyway, sorry, the motorcycle seems to have broken down, Xingze said, slowly climbing to her feet. It's probably because the snow is difficult to navigate, but thanks to all this, I seem to be fine now. I didn't want to collapse before seeing Sheila after all, Pingman said, slowly climbing to his feet. The depth of the snow cushioned him from any serious damage. However, this also seemed to indicate the difficulties ahead. We're at the border of Area 28. As planned, the car that's coming to pick us up should be nearby, not far away. It's a short walk, not far, Xingze said. The motorcycle beside her looked slightly deformed, and the engine seemed to have some problems, making it unusable for a while. So, they had to find another way. After all, there was no time to repair it. It was Christmas Eve, so even though it was Xingze's favorite car, she had to abandon it. Christmas Eve, after all, didn't hold much interest for Xingze. Hearing this, Harriman brushed off the snow and nodded in agreement, following Xingze along the other forest path. Children seem to make wishes during this festival. You have one now, right? Xingze asked. That's right, Harriman said. Anyway, let's finish this mission quickly, Xingze said. I agree. With that, the two of them weaved through the wooded path, abandoning the driveway at night. Above areas 23 and 24, Lidan and I engaged in a fierce battle. We exchanged blows in the air, relying on our suit's performance and strength, clashing weapons and striving to carve a path, but we couldn't escape. Judging by the situation, if I fled, the opponent would pursue me, using astonishing speed and long-range harassment attacks. His goal was likely to pin me down. In that case, I'd be trapped, and the opponent might not have yet fully utilized his full capabilities. The same was true for me. This was above the city, and I couldn't fully grasp the full capabilities of my suit at the moment. From a formal perspective, I was the one who would fail. Regardless of whether I could repel the black figure before me, any delay would lead to mission failure. Therefore, the only option was to demonstrate my true abilities. Instantly, I pushed my machine's performance beyond its original limit. The crystals within, influenced by my power and that of the primordial spirit, shone dazzlingly. Facing the black figure a short distance ahead, it had stopped mid-air, drifting slowly on the wind. Suddenly, a pair of wings on its back spread, releasing a cascade of blue and red light particles. Like a rocket, I charged forward, my speed once again exceeding the original limit, steadily increasing. As if breaking through the air, the machine's blue hue suddenly turned red, transforming from a blue phantom into a cyan-red illusion. I struck the opponent with my sword. The first strike collided with its side, and the second slashed a cut on its flesh, sending it reeling slightly backward. This time, my sword shone with light, slashing through the air with a cyan-red slash, closing in on the black figure before me. The blow pierced its body, and instantly its form dissipated into a black aura. It reappeared behind me in the blink of an eye. Seriously? Very good, but never mind. I have no reason to oppose you now. Let's end it here, the other party said. What do you mean? I asked. Buying time is enough for me, Lyda said after a pause. Goodbye then. With those words, the black machine, like a black snake phantom, circled in the air for a moment before fading from my sight. I immediately reported the situation to my superiors and inquired about the current location of the black motorcycle, but they replied that it was no longer available. Failure is a common occurrence, like on Christmas Eve, with snow still falling over the city. I wonder if Pingman is doing well. Chapter 215 Progress of the Situation. With the assistance of Holy Water Spirit Academy and third-party police, the black motorcycle was last seen on the shoreline trail near Area 28. After arriving there, search teams discovered the black motorcycle during their search. It lay overturned on the side of the snow-covered road, and the two occupants were nowhere to be found. The motorcycle's condition suggests it had suffered an accident or malfunction, rendering it inoperable. The continued snowfall also prevented police from tracking the two individuals' footprints. Therefore, the search has reached a bottleneck. On the other hand, it's difficult for me to continue searching for them. The only option left is to inquire about L's base, which I currently don't know at Holy Water Spirit Academy. Tonight's Christmas Eve party went off without a hitch. Although I didn't see Qin Liang and Li Xingze's special performances, it had come to a close. With the party over, it was almost time for the students to go home. Some students stayed behind to help with the final chores, but most of those who stayed were residents nearby or staying at the hotel. The majority of the first-year students in the Elements class also chose to stay, gathering in the classroom awaiting updates on their fellow student, Pingman. Currently, according to reports from above, Pingman's whereabouts remained unknown. Furthermore, even the higher-ups were unable to confirm his whereabouts for the time being, causing some students to become anxious and impatient. Now that things have come to this, I have no choice but to go out and look for them, Lu Guang said. Hearing this, Jin Chuang said, "What's the point of you going? Forget it, this place is huge." A moment later, Fangling received different intelligence through communication with Feng Chu and announced to the group, "Just now, Weiyang seems to have found the whereabouts of the woman in black and Pingman. They're near Area 31, in that case, where is Pingman? I heard the motorcycle was abandoned." "So who are they?" Yu Zianan asked. "A van, according to Weiyang's temporary information. They seem to be tracking them." "Really? That guy is quite capable." In the cold, snowy weather, Weiyang, through communication with higher-ups, arrived at the location the two had been before the search team. By chance, he saw Pingman and the woman in black enter a van. The process was so quick that Weiyang couldn't confirm it, so he had to follow them from behind. It was best to find out where the two were going, Weiyang decided. Using stealth, he followed the van for a while. The van pulled into the entrance to what appeared to be an underground factory. It stopped at the checkpoint in front of the gate. Pingman and Shaksha exited the van, and Weiyang, sensing something from the shadows, quietly emerged shortly after. Using the van as a barrier, they peered over and saw Pingman and another woman heading toward a nearby, slightly ajar door. That was where they were headed, and next to it was a sign that read, "Elemental Research Establishment." Despite that, it was probably L, with Elemental Establishment being one of their formal names. Seeing Pingman heading there, Weiyang, puzzled by his intentions, considering he had betrayed the organization and was now returning, stepped forward and called out, Pingman, wait. Both Pingman and the woman glanced at Wei Ying. Wei Ying, Pingman said, a little surprised. Pingman, what are you planning on doing there? Pingman, unsure how to respond to the anxiously gazing youth, simply stared in silence. Answer me. I'm braving the snow and am about to catch a cold. I'm not doing this just to see that silent face. Pingman didn't know what to say to Wei Ying after he shouted. He opened his mouth but hesitated. He lowered his head and turned his back to Wei Ying, heading towards the gate. Shaksha just watched Pingman leave. Wei Ying was about to chase him when a man in a windbreaker dropped from the sky and blocked Wei Ying's way, grabbing him with one hand. The man's tall stature made it difficult for Wei Ying to move. He decided to use his ability to deal with the man in front of him, transforming his black shadow into a snake-like substance and attacking. Get out of the way, he bit the man's arm, but he didn't react. A deep blue light seemed to shine on his arm, and the dazzling light caused Wei Ying to be thrown away. Go back. There's no point in looking for you here, the man said. Wei Ying couldn't say anything under the circumstances. The man's hands were incredibly hard, and his strength was unbelievable. He possessed an unusual power, but Wei Ying believed he was unbeatable. Behind the man, Wei Ying silently watched Pingman slowly enter until he turned his head away with one last glance. There was nothing he could do. Then, with his head down, Wei Ying left. The higher-ups received intelligence from Wei Ying and confirmed Lin Pingman's destination, an elemental research base on the border of Area 32. The base appeared to be a branch research center of the Elemental Agency, though it was rather old, and the activities of the people there were currently unknown. Perhaps they had done a good job of covering their cover, leaving nothing unnoticed. It was simply an ordinary private research facility. After some confirmation, Hideoxy decided to contact the agency shortly thereafter. He soon dialed the communication code. The call was connected, and through a direct call between the main computers, the other side received the call. At this moment, a doctor's face appeared and asked, "What's the matter? This is the intelligence department of Shengshiling College. Excuse me, we seem to have received a message just now that one of our students has arrived at your research facility. Is this true?" Hideoxy said to the doctor. "Well, who is the student you are talking about? This is a popular place for many students. Everyone is interested in the power of elements," the doctor said casually. "Lin Pingman is our freshman." Hideoxy showed him Pingman's student's ID. Seeing this, the doctor nodded. "Pingman? I think he seems to be. No need to trouble you. Since the student is missing, many of our relatives are very worried. Please allow us to go directly and look for him," Hideoxy said. "Wait a minute. I know the Pingman you're talking about. Don't worry, listen to me. He's here now," the doctor said. "Really? Then let us see him." Hearing this, the doctor looked calm and said, "No problem. We're still in internal training, but since you're in a hurry, I'll bring him over." The doctor then stepped aside and said, "Please wait a moment." Meanwhile, Hideoxy and the other senior executives could only wait silently in the control room. Meanwhile, it was unknown what the doctor, who looked uneasy, would do. As the minutes passed, the bespectacled man silently pondered potential possibilities. Soon, the doctor brought Pingman to the screen. "Sir, I've brought Pingman here," the doctor said, bringing Pingman to the camera. Seeing this, the dark blonde boy appeared on the side of the screen, now standing next to the doctor. Hideoxy said, "It's been quite a while. The tea's almost cold. What have you been doing? The training center over there is quite a distance from here. Please forgive me, it will take some time. Our training period is currently 7 days, and Pingman will be here for the duration, so I wanted to tell you so you can rest assured." "Pingman, is that so?" "Yes," Pingman replied. "Pingman, let me ask you a question. Who is your homeroom teacher?" Hideoxy asked. "Teacher Shi Yufan." Hearing these words, Hideoxy couldn't help but confirm the truth of the man. He was indeed Pingman. "What go there, Pingman? Many students here are worried about you. Come back soon." "Sorry, I can't go back now. I have things to do," Pingman responded. "What is that?" Hideoxy asked. Hearing this, Pingman was about to answer, but the doctor next to him seemed to make some small movements. He said, "That is, training." Hideoxy saw that there were some problems in it at a glance and said, "What is the content of the training?" Pingman was speechless for a moment, and the doctor next to him answered for him, "Of course it's about the development of elements. This is mainly divided into spiritual meditation and a lot of theoretical knowledge." "Really? For some reason, I found a threatening letter from that student. The content contains some threatening content, asking students to go to a certain place. Are you talking about Pingman? Is there such a thing, Pingman? Asked the doctor. Hearing this, Pingman couldn't help but shook his head and said, no, I often heard recently that there seems to be something strange about your research institute. Is there anything fishy about the development of elements? It seems better for me to go in and investigate. The existence of the elemental organization has been recognized by the city's rulers, and we have adequate legal protection. Acting recklessly would only damage your school's reputation. Really? I'll discuss this with my superiors and consider the next steps, Hiduoxi said, stepping away, lost in thought. Meanwhile, Feng Chui, another girl present, approached the large screen and, gazing at Pingman, said, Pingman, what are you doing? Come back. Is there any reason you can't? Pingman remained silent. They must have been using some means to restrain you, Feng Chui bluntly stated. A moment later, the communication was terminated. Hiduoxi adjusted her glasses and raised her head. This is troublesome. We can't break through that location. Approving higher-ups will take time. I wonder what that old man will do in the meantime. Really? Anyway, I'll report the situation to the other students first, Feng Chui replied, then left the room. Chapter 216 Inside the Research Institute. Shortly after that, I received intelligence regarding Aramano. After consulting with higher-ups, I decided to return. We've already received information about the young man in Area 32, and according to them, his life doesn't appear to be in immediate danger. The specific method of decision-making will be determined later. So, I have no choice. It seems Aramano is doing this if his own accord located near the border of Area 32 is a building that serves as a branch of the Elemental Research Institute. Deep within this massive building, in a subterranean facility, are experimental creatures. Within this room, a woman, Shara, is imprisoned. She appears to have been held there under some strong demands from the organization. Dr. Lark is the actual person making the decision. Shara is aware of this and strongly resists it. She's disgusted by the thought that she might be used as bait to lure Aramano in. She had recently used various methods to threaten Dr. Lark into releasing him, even threatening her own life to get him to give up. The result was restraints on her limbs and mouth. Not long ago, Dr. Lark came to visit her again. Facing Sheila, who was in a bound state, he came in front of her and said, the plan seems to be very successful, Sheila. Your stay here is meaningful enough, so don't think of strange things. You have a rare talent. Don't waste it, right? I will let you go in a while. Seeing this and hearing that the plan was successful, it means that Pingman has returned to the organization, and it is very likely here. Lack, did you bring Harriman back? Shara said. That's exactly what happened. Thanks to you. What's the point of bringing him back now? I doubt you'll ever understand the meaning of his abilities, Shara said. Harriman's abilities are strange, a little unlike those of the elements, but he can indeed harness their power. It's just that there seems to be something within him we haven't discovered yet. If nothing works, we'll have to dissect him this time, Dr. Lack said. Stop, you idiot, what's the big deal? Accumulating failures is necessary to achieve perfection. You said I couldn't do it, right? Then let's do this. It'll get us closer to the answer, Doctor. Everything you do is meaningless. Sooner or later, you'll understand, Shara said. Really? You'd better rest for a while. Dr. Lack suddenly pressed the shock switch, sending Shara into a direct shock. The shock was unbearable. It was indeed powerful, but Shara remained silent, seemingly unresponsive. Dr. Lack then left her alone. At that moment, Sheila couldn't help but feel a flicker of regret. She remembered exactly what Pingman had said a while ago. Why had she returned here? It was talking about him, but also about herself. It was strange. This place was a place where no light could be seen. Was this really the only place she could survive? Light, new, where was the hope? Sheila looked into Pingman's eyes, those eyes that once shone with light. Hope, eyes that pursued hope. Can the hope of a person overcome darkness? Even if it was destined. In a dimly lit laboratory, Pingman lay on an instrument, undergoing an examination. It seemed the research institute was collecting the latest information about his body. After a while, completing a series of procedures, Pingman began to feel a bit hungry. Food had been prepared for him. This was a fairly standard occurrence. After eating, Pingman went to the nearby gate and asked the guard where Dr. Lark was. Where's the doctor? He's probably in the main control room, contact him. I have something to ask you, Pingman said. In that case, let's communicate directly via radio waves. Although the doctor doesn't like to meet people, it should be no problem to communicate that way, the guard said. Really? I see. Pingman then returned to the room. There was a communication facility next to the room. He could simply dial in to contact people at various locations within the base. Pingman then chose the main control room and communicated. After dialing, the radio waves communicated with the main control room. After a few long beeps, the connection was established. A moment later, Dr. Lark's face appeared on the screen and said, Pingman, what's wrong? It's very late at this time, it was almost dawn, the end of Christmas Eve, and snowflakes were still falling outside. Sheila, I haven't met Sheila yet. Let me see her, Pingman said. Hearing this, the doctor replied, I just finished the examination. You must be tired, right? Have you had dinner yet? Yes, so I wanted to see Sheila before that, Pingman spoke, sounding drowsy and lacking any energy. Look, you're already so exhausted. Let's talk tomorrow, Dr. Lark said. Pingman, seemingly too sleepy to open his eyes, slowly slumped down. The doctor simply ended the call silently. After that, Pingman lay on the instrument table and fell into deep sleep. His vision was dark, a strange feeling, perhaps from exhaustion. Soon, two people carried Pingman to a bed to rest. Christmas Eve ended with Pingman's eyes closed. Whether it was Sheila, him, or many others, they would all spend this night in darkness, even if it was not a pleasant one. The next morning, Pingman opened his eyes and woke up in a bed, the same one in that room. He couldn't remember why he was there, but it was indeed the room the doctor had prepared for him. It felt like a prison cell, a bit of insecurity, but what was he lying there for? He looked around. It was dim, a sliver of light streaming in from a small window nearby. He checked the time, it was 7 in the morning, Christmas Day, the day after Christmas Eve. He'd done something last night, leaving the academy and arriving at the organization's branch. Then there was Sheila. Sheila's whereabouts were still unknown, and the point of his trip was to find her, but he hadn't found her yet. He thought of Dr. Lark. He seemed to have contacted him last night, but he couldn't quite recall the outcome. With that conclusion in mind, Pingman decided to find Dr. Lark and ask him for his opinion. Deciding, he rose from the bed and headed for the door. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 Inside the Research Institute. Pingman walked out of the room and headed toward the corridor of the research facility. Not far away, he spotted a nearby guard. Seeing Pingman approach, the dark blue uniformed guard said, Pingman, it's almost breakfast time. I'll go with you to the dining area. Before that, I'd like to see the doctor. Where is he? Pingman asked. Dr. Lark, it's almost time for the dining area. He told me yesterday that if you want to see him, you should go there first and have breakfast. Really? Then take me there, Pingman replied. The two of them set off toward the dining area. Walking along, they soon arrived at the dining hall. There were a few people milling about, most likely workers, perhaps members of the organization. Pingman had experienced this before. He had heard that the doctor might come to eat, but he hadn't seen him even after a quick glance. Pingman then asked, Where's the doctor? I'm not sure. Usually around this time, he'd find a table and eat by himself, the guard replied. Really? Then let's have breakfast first, Pingman said. He smelled some food and felt a little hungry. It seemed like he'd been busy yesterday and today. Okay, I'll take your order. Maybe the doctor will be here soon. You can go to a table nearby and wait, the guard said, heading to the counter. Pingman nodded and took a seat at an empty table. Soon, Dr. Lark appeared in the restaurant. He ordered some breakfast and headed for an empty table. Pingman approached him and said, Doctor, are you coming for dinner? Yes, what's going on? I think I asked you something about Sheila yesterday, Pingman said. Oh, I think I did. Please take a seat, Dr. Lark said. Pingman took the seat across from him. Sheila should be around here. Yes, breakfast's over. I'll take you to see her, Dr. Lark said. Okay, after breakfast? I'm really hungry, too. Well, anyway, If you have any questions here, feel free to ask me, the doctor said, taking a sip of tea. The doctor felt different this morning, like a different person. Although he'd always seemed unpredictable, this time it was more pronounced, leaving Harriman a bit bewildered. I don't see many people in this facility. Elemental organizations usually have more people and more advanced equipment, but this doesn't feel like that, Harriman asked. About that, this isn't actually an elemental organization. It's probably an L base. Just like what the Holy Water Spirit Academy official said, the doctor added. While it might sound like a topic he shouldn't broach, it shouldn't be a problem for Harriman, having been here for over a decade. However, if this is an L base, an investigation would be a disaster. He wondered why the doctor was so calm. Based on yesterday's events, the higher-ups at Holy Water Spirit Academy would likely try to obtain permission for an investigation. This organization conducts many illegal experiments. Given the situation here, there's likely residual evidence. Where is Sheila now? Is she okay? Harriman asked again. We'll have to ask her personally about her situation. She's in good health and in the basement. Is there something bothering her? The world always requires difficult compromises, the doctor said, taking another sip of tea. Just then, the guard brought breakfast over. Seeing Dr. Lark sitting across from Harriman, he came over, placed breakfast on the table, and said, Isn't this Dr. Lark? It's a rare occasion for you to eat with someone today. Well, I have something to say to this young man. Really? In that case, I won't bother you anymore, the guard said, walking towards the distant table. The guard seemed quite friendly to Dr. Lark. It wasn't a deliberate act of social disparity, but rather a certain respect. In Harriman's eyes, this seemed different from the old man he hated. For a moment, Pingman was unsure about what was happening. He'd be seeing Shara soon, so the only thing he needed to do was finish the breakfast in front of him. With that in mind, Pingman began eating a nutritious breakfast, which he decided to finish first. Meanwhile, the doctor was sipping tea. Anyway, there's another test to do after this, and it seems like a blood draw is needed. It's good to eat a little more in the morning, Pingman asked. A blood draw? Isn't it usually done before eating? That's a different test, not a typical physical exam. Afterward, the two finished their respective breakfasts, and Pingman surveyed the surroundings, feeling a premonition that something was brewing. Dr. Lark finished breakfast soon and stood up. Let's go, Pingman. Okay. With that, the two of them headed out of the dining room. Walking down the hallway, they walked side by side. Pingman asked, After this, as promised, we'll let Sheila go, right? Well, she doesn't have anything to do anymore, nothing to desire. It's okay for her to leave the organization. I'm not particularly interested in her, Dr. Lark said. It wasn't a pleasant thing to say, but if Sheila could be released, then there wouldn't be any problems. Really? You'll keep your promise, won't you? Well, before that, let's get a checkup. She's in excellent condition now, isn't she? Dr. Lark said, having already reached the door of the examination room not far from Pingman's room. Wait a minute, before that, let me see Sheila first. Pingman paused at the door of the laboratory, looking a little tired. Please rest assured, it is you who wishes for Sheila's safety and freedom. I will fulfill your wish. However, given your current condition, it would be better for you to come to the examination room in front of you for a comprehensive physical examination, Dr. Lark said. Physical condition, the body feels a little weak and dizzy. This feeling seems a little similar to last night. So what is the cause of this? Food? Dinner and breakfast? What was put in my breakfast? Pingman, who had figured out the situation, said, Don't panic, these are the medicines needed for the physical examination. It's okay. Let's go to the bed in the examination room together, Dr. Lark said and led Pingman into the room with one hand. Pingman was a little weak, dizzy, and unable to resist. He was inadvertently brought to the room and came to the treatment bed with the multiple instruments. What are you going to do? Next, I'm going to perform a physical examination on you, from head to toe, a complete analysis of your body, Dr. Lark said. Wait, you're going to? Harriman vaguely caught sight of Dr. Lark holding some tools. Yes, a surgery, really. To understand something unknown, I'm going to give you a thorough examination. For a moment, the ground of the research facility shook slightly, seemingly not from an earthquake but something else. At that moment, the alarm inside the facility sounded. It was an intrusion alarm. Someone was attacking from outside. At the same time, Dr. Lark's communicator beeped. He put down his tools and answered the call. Doctor, someone's raiding our research facility. They look like students. The subordinate's voice was a little hurried, but since they were students, they were most likely Harriman's companions. Really? They're committing an illegal act. Let's send the attacking force to deal with them, Dr. Lark said, and then hung up. Who is it? Pingman asked. My guess is it's your companion. That's none of my business. Let the experiment continue. Let me do the full analysis of your body myself, Dr. Lark said calmly, tying the restraints to Pingman's body. His hands glowed faintly, perhaps from elements or other powers. The doctor then pulled open Pingman's shirt and gently slid across his abdomen, sensing the sound. Beneath the bed, something flickered faintly, in the shadows beside it. Something emerged from the shadows, a door resembling a black hole. Several figures within appeared before Lark's eyes. Lark, are you examining Pingman? You're so stubborn. Even if you completely dissect your body, you can't find the answer, Yu Fan said. He was one of the three people who appeared, the remaining two being Yu Xiaonan and Wei Ying. Really? Well, you crazy fellow, did you trick Pingman here just to conduct this kind of human experiment? Yu Xiaonan asked. You got here even faster than I expected. It's really a bit surprising. Yu Fan and Yu Xiaonan, relying on Wei Ying's power, infiltrated the area in one go. Luckily, it took me quite some time to find this place, Wei Ying said. After all, now's unexpectedly a great time for an experiment, Lark said. What? Dr. Lark flicked a switch from his pocket. Instantly, a piercing noise spread throughout the surroundings, causing the three people in front of him to cover their ears. To prevent the elementalists from running wild, a special magnetic field has been installed within the facility specifically to block the elemental's power. That's, Yu Xiaonan couldn't help but recall Hongmei's use of a similar ability not long ago. She couldn't help but feel the energy flow in her body becoming erratic. Her control over the water element was struggling to maintain control. This again? I've seen it before, Yu Fan said. As she spoke, a flicker of flame flashed in her hand. Begin the experiment, Yu Fan then slashed with flames, creating a crimson slash that slashed towards Lark. The red slash instantly reached Lark, neutralized by the invisible force. The experiment requires many opportunities, the power of the attack, and certain factors to succeed. As Lark spoke, a dark figure appeared beside him. It looked pitch black. It was unclear what kind of power it was, an element, a primordial spirit, or something else entirely. Chapter 218 The Different Faces of That Man. For a moment, Lark stood before the three of them. A faint black aura emanated from him, causing them to be wary. Dr. Lark, I thought you were just a research geek, but I didn't expect you to be so. Yu Xiaonan, what are you talking about? Human potential is limitless, it's up to you to unleash it, Lark said. The priority now is to rescue Pingman. If you want to hinder me, I'll be your opponent, Yu Fan said. We're still in the process of experimenting, so Pingman can't be handed over to me yet, then there's no point in saying more. Yu Xiaonan and Wei Ying couldn't help but pull away. Yu Fan's body heated up, and he gathered flame energy at his fingertips. Focusing it in a single point, he launched a fireball, aiming at Lark. As the fireball approached Lark, the flames shimmered and dispersed. This might be because the fireball wasn't powerful enough, but the opponent was clearly possessing something suspicious, so he had to increase the power. Although it was a bit dangerous for everyone in the room, he should use more powerful tactics to deal with him. Yu Fan's eyes instantly glowed red, a fiery crimson. The air suddenly heated up, and above Lark, a red fire element formed, gathering together with high heat and energy into a sphere. Then, at the point of contraction, it released. The explosion, like a crimson lotus, erupted, creating a sudden, deafening roar. However, the intense heat gradually faded as the black aura in front of Lark, transformed into a palm, blocked it. What's going on? Wei Ying asked. Yu Fan saw that this elemental binding space seemed even more powerful than before. The root of the problem lay with Lark. What was within him? Original spirit. People often seek the right thing, but what they see is not the truth. Suddenly, a dark figure materialized in front of Lark, a humanoid monster with spiral patterns on its body and a pair of horns on its head. 10,000 transformed demons. Is that a demon? Wei Ying, standing nearby, couldn't help but exclaim. Whatever it is, what I'm going to do remains the same. Yu Fan extended a hand, the flames within it swirling like a red vortex, coiling like a serpent. enveloping the black monster before him. Like a vortex of flames, it inflicted a searing pain on the black monster. As the flames approached, a mysterious black aura suddenly filled the black monster's vicinity. With a powerful roar, the traces of flames gradually dissipated, leaving only a lingering black aura. In a flash, Lark vanished from Yufen's sight, then reappeared at her side, seizing one of her fire-wielding hands. Meanwhile, her other hand was grasped by the monster's humanoid form, forcing both hands backward at a negative angle. Simultaneously, her back knees were kicked, buckling downward, like a prisoner kneeling with his hands bound. This scene of Yufen unfolded before Pingman's eyes, revealing Yufen's face in pain as his hands were repeatedly bent backward, his joints stretched to the limit. Strange. I can't use my power, Yufan said painfully. Damn it, at this moment, Weiying, a black shadow, transformed into a coiled snake and charged towards Lark, only to be grabbed by another black hand that extended from his side. Then, a black figure emerged from it, approached Weiying, and delivered a punch, knocking him to the ground. What a strange ability. This time, it's my turn, Yuzayanen said, stepping forward, her eyes aquamarine. Suddenly, a brilliant aquamarine light shone before her, and several water vine whips burst forth. The water blade slashed through the black figure's flesh, swirling and entangling it. Under the erosion of the water, the black figure gradually disintegrated, scattering to the ground. The penetrating power of water is what makes you the most lethal candidate, but under certain conditions, your power is useless. Suddenly, Lark's figure appeared before Yuzayanen, and Yufan had already collapsed. Really? Yuzayanen asked. Instantly, several water blades transformed into two dragons, charging towards the man before them. As the water dragons attacked, a dark shadow emerged in front of Dr. Lark. The humanoid monster blocked the attacking dragons with its palms. The water element gradually dissipated before the monster's power. Lark stepped forward, and Yuzayanen felt a slight strain under the element's restraint. She tried to reach out, but Lark grabbed her hand unexpectedly. As she was caught, she was flung backwards, slamming into the nearby wall and falling to the ground. All three of them were instantly defeated. Pingman, observing this, said, "Stop." He tried to climb out of the bed, but the ropes prevented him from moving. It's those three who are trying to disrupt the experiment. That doesn't mean I can stop, right? They were the ones who first made the move, Lark said. That's not true. They were motivated by a desire to save others, and you, Pingman hesitated, finding it difficult to speak. The situation reached a stalemate. A moment later, a guard trotted into the room. Upon seeing the situation, he looked slightly surprised and asked, "What happened, Dr. Lark?" "Nothing." "What brings you here?" "I'm here to report on the situation outside. Those people are putting up strong resistance, and I'm afraid we won't be able to handle them for a while." "Really? They're also first-generation elements, after all." "Let that high-ranking man go," Lark said. "That man, Blue Crystal?" "Yes," Lark nodded. The guard then left the room. Thus, the situation returned to its previous state, with all three men collapsing before the sudden attack. Casually invading an enemy location was indeed a somewhat unwise decision. Weiying, Yaofen, and Yuzayanen were successively enveloped by the black aura and restrained in the corner of the room. Under the black force, they all felt weak and powerless, unable to resist. Miscalculated, Yaofen couldn't help but say. At this moment, Dr. Lark looked at the three of them, then at Pingman. Seeing his expression still tinged with resignation, he said, "All right, let's move on to the next phase of the experiment." As he spoke, the black humanoid monster beside Lark, the Million Demon, suddenly soared from the sky, black aura forming wings behind it. It immediately plunged headfirst along the ground, penetrating it in one breath. Its massive body pierced through the ground and headed downwards. Despite this, the ground didn't even pierce through, but rather went straight through. "What does this mean?" Pingmeng asked, feeling a little uneasy. "Next, we need to go to the basement and kill Sheila," Lark said. "What did you say?" At this moment, the Million Demon passed through the barrier separating this floor from the basement and headed straight towards the underground cells. "Get rid of Sheila." "I said I'm no longer interested in her, but she's still useful," Lark said. "Wait, that's strange. Doesn't the organization value Sheila? Why is she being eliminated?" Pingman said. "Why? By now, I have nothing to hide." As he spoke, Dr. Lark's appearance began to change, suddenly shifting like clouds in the sky. Soon, Pingman and the three people standing by noticed the man's change in appearance. Pingman now saw a man who looked different from Dr. Lark, younger than him. I'm not Lark. You can call me Liz to Crowder, the man said. The four looked puzzled. Is that true? Crowder chuckled and said, of course. People are often deceived by what they see. I'm just wearing a mask, and you've been fooled, really? You have the ability to transform? Pingman considered. Perhaps it was the ability bestowed upon him by the million Transformers. Even if you knew, you wouldn't be able to tell me apart, Liz to Crowder said. For a moment, the four of them were puzzled. Crowder, in response, simply walked slowly toward a seat nearby. Chapter 219 Final Stage. Claude, a man whose true identity was unknown, sat in a chair, dressed in gray and slender. He looked about 10 years younger than Lark. What do we do next? Let me tell you the rules of this game. Once Sheila is killed, it's over. What do you think? Claude said. Stop. Don't touch Sheila. I'll do anything to achieve this, okay? This is an experiment. I'll give you 10 minutes to rescue Sheila. If you exceed the time limit, I'll begin the final phase of the experiment. What's the final phase? I can't tell you. I'll go check the situation outside before then. Claude stood up and walked out of the room. Please hurry. With that, Claude disappeared from Pingman's side back to the current situation. Finding Sheila within 10 minutes was not impossible. However, he was tied up with his hands and feet, unable to rise from the bed. Even if he said he needed to hurry, simply standing up was difficult, let alone finding Sheila. But time was of the essence. Pingman's consciousness was gradually becoming clear. He began to struggle against the ropes, but he couldn't break free. He was given a 10-minute time limit, and within those 10 minutes, it was doubtful whether he could even get out of bed. What a joke. Pingman suddenly felt disgusted with himself. He had accomplished nothing, and yet he was so miserable at the crucial moment. He longed to break free from the ropes as quickly as possible. Suddenly, two water blades suddenly struck, severing the four ropes that bound Pingman. Pingman was able to rise from the bed he no longer wanted to lie on. He glanced to the side and saw Xingze also looking over his shoulder. It seemed she had helped him. By then, Xingze had broken free from the black aura's restraints. Her water blade seemed to have worked. Pingman stood up and walked over to Xingze, saying, Are you okay, Xingze? Pingman wanted to reach out and help Xingze up, but she stopped him. I'm fine, Pingman. Sheila's in danger, right? Go find her, but, you? Pingman hesitated, looking at the three people before him. I'm fine now. I have the ability to recover, the healing power of water. I'll help the two people next to me with their health, and I'll meet up with you later, Xingze gestured to Yu Fan and Wei Ying. Really? In that case, see you later, Pingman said, making up his mind and running towards the door inside the institute. On the second floor corridor, Claude was walking. He could glimpse the scenery outside from the window. The person trying to break in was probably from the same class as Lin Pingman. He remembered that they weren't particularly close, but now, Claude couldn't understand what was going on. He ignored it and continued walking down the corridor. After a few moments, he reached a bend. A hatted figure approached from the corner. Claude recognized him as one of L's top brass. When they met, the man glanced at Claude and said, You're a face I haven't seen before. The man had never seen Claude before. I know you, Lanjing. Dr. Lark must have asked you to help out. The enemies outside are a bit troublesome, Claude asked. Who are you? I'm Lark's guard. I'm about to take some action. You're Lark's assistant, right? Yes, I'm planning to go out and help those mech troops, Lanjing said. He smiled and passed Claude on the other side. Claude continued down the second floor corridor, heading to the central control center for something. The man named Lanjing isn't Lark's subordinate, he's merely an eyesore, assigned to surveillance. So far, he seems uninformed, so that's all. Claude, his name is just a nickname, his true identity a mystery, no one knows his true identity. Claude has lost interest in L, and is now more interested in Pingman and Shara. Therefore, a thorough cleansing is necessary to sever his ties with L. What needs to be done will soon become clear, and the answer will be revealed soon at the border of Area 32, at the gates of the Elemental Agency. A group of 8 people, led by the boy Lu Guang, the girls Feng Chui and Feng Ling, and including Lu Fifei, Jing Trang, and others, our students from the first-year special class at Holy Water Spirit Academy. Their shared goal, to rescue that person and to make peace with the past. They are content with their new environment, and Pingman has contributed to this outcome. Their desire to rescue him stems not only from the fact that he might be in the same boat as them, but also from a proper upbringing. There's no need for a reason to help someone in need. At this moment, they were facing an attack from the Mecha guards at the entrance to the elemental agency. While neither side intended to kill anyone, the Mecha guards' objectives conflicted with those of the students, and a battle ensued. Let's just do what we can. Leave the internal affairs to you, Fan, and the others. Try not to act rashly and prioritize preserving your own lives, Lu Guang said. Okay, each of the 8 individuals here possess varying degrees of elemental control, allowing them to interfere with events. Depending on the strength and application of their abilities, this could yield even more formidable power. They possessed the 4 elements, and many possessed a tacit understanding of their combined powers. Therefore, they were able to use their varying elemental powers to thwart the Mecha troops, gaining the upper hand and putting the enemy in a difficult position. This was sufficient, creating internal chaos and making the rescue plan much easier. Facing the outnumbered humans, they dared not use lethal weapons. Even if they were to take relatively risky actions, the 8 of them had all grown up within the organization and possessed considerable experience. While their abilities might not eclipse those of the top 10, like Yu Fan, their combined strength was formidable. Furthermore, a sympathizer appeared, Li Xingze. He was the first to appear. Although the 8 had violated the Academy's wishes and committed acts that appeared to disrupt public order, he seemed to understand. I understand how you feel, he said. Pingman and the other 2 are juniors I've just met, and I don't want them to be put in danger. Although my mission failed, there were still other worthy actions I needed to take. At least for now, I wanted to help these 8 individuals who had risked their lives and fallen into danger. Soon, the Mecha units were defeated by our counterattack. From my perspective, those Mecha units weren't particularly strong, perhaps at the UA level, and couldn't compare to the Chaos Mecha units we had encountered previously, both in terms of technology and performance. Therefore, the danger level was relatively low. A moment later, a hatted figure approached the outer entrance of the elemental facility. He looked quite important inside the research facility. Within this seemingly large base, Pingman ran. He remembered the time limit was 10 minutes, so he ran recklessly. Claude had indeed said that Cheryl was in the basement. While he couldn't pinpoint the basement's exact location, he knew it must be down there. He simply needed to find a path or staircase leading down. That way, he'd definitely find a way to reach the basement. With this thought in mind, Pingman continued running. He still felt a bit tired, but it didn't matter now. 10 minutes depended on Shara's life. Finding her within those 10 minutes was the only thing he had to do. Nothing else mattered, not the fatigue or the pain. Pingman tried to sense Shara's location, his mind focused on it, as if he had entered a state of deep concentration. He sensed a sudden breeze, as if it indicated the location of the person he was looking for. He sprinted even harder. Passing through corridors, bends, and stairways, Pingman approached the destination step by step. He gradually saw a prison-like area before him. It was gloomy and dark, and around him lay numerous creatures encased in water containers. Some of them looked quite bizarre, likely due to various experiments, causing various abnormalities in their bodies. Many were likely dead, and their identities were impossible to confirm. But Pingman's first priority was to find Sheila. He could sense the woman just ahead. Chapter 220 Final Stage. Claude passed through a locked door and arrived at a hidden room deep within. This was the old control center within the base. Unlike the brand new one, it was a backup facility, a precautionary measure. Within this backup location was the program to dismantle the base. Claude observed the time. The 10 minutes allotted were almost up, indicating the final phase was about to begin. Within this old facility lay the program to dismantle the base. It was explosives. They held the power to engulf the base in flames, incinerating everything. It was here, and it had to be activated now. Making his decision, Claude opened the old facility's main control computer and began entering the activation code. It was a simple facility requiring high permissions, so Claude quickly selected it, setting a 20-minute countdown. Immediately, the 20-minute countdown began. Claude smiled, time to say goodbye, and began heading in another direction at Holy Water Spirit Academy. On this Saturday morning, they received intelligence that a student had violated discipline and was engaging in private activities. The class from that element, seemingly without waiting for the school's judgment, took action on their own. Around 8 of them, they had already grasped the situation. The unauthorized action took place several hours after Christmas Eve, when several students decided to head to the base in Area 32. They were stopped on the way, but were given excuses to evade them. Later, Hideyoshi understood the situation and questioned the students who hadn't gone, explaining why they had acted without permission. The response was, "Teacher, we understand you're having difficulties, so this is a private matter. What we did isn't school-related, and we weren't assigned to do this by the school." Hideyoshi was speechless, then said, "Then we will act accordingly. Please be prepared." That was the end of the conversation. Acting without permission was indeed a violation of school rules and could even constitute a disturbance of public order, but looking beyond the obvious, the consequences could be different. "We've finally found a reason to go," Hideyoshi said, his worries suddenly dispelled, and he had already devised a new strategy. "Who should we send?" asked Shiyufan, who was also standing nearby. "Let's send Huakun and Wang Liang this time." "No problem, I'll go notify them." With that, the academy soon took action in the basement of the research institute. Pingman ran, passing the experimental creatures, heading deeper into the basement. Not far ahead, Sheila was likely there, deep in the basement. As he ran, a dark figure paused near a dimly lit stone pillar in the basement. Its eyes were dark red, and it had a pair of horns on its head and a pair of black wings behind it. It was the demon, the million-moving demon. Pingman passed beneath the demon and was noticed by it. Pingman also noticed the large figure, but prioritized finding Sheila. The million-moving demon's presence in the basement might mean it was really waiting for 10 minutes. From this, it seemed that Sheila was probably fine. Suddenly, millions of demons spread their wings and soared, pursuing Pingman straight in the air. The air around them vibrated, and Pingman felt a cold monster approaching from behind. As it approached, he ducked. The black-winged monster flew overhead, causing Pingman to lose his balance due to the wind pressure. He stumbled and fell to the ground, tumbling twice before coming to rest. "Is it time?" At this moment, millions of demons glided past and hovered not far above Pingman. It seemed as if it was trying to stop him. Then, millions of demons attacked again, closing in head-on at breakneck speed. In that instant, a red figure appeared before Pingman's eyes. Yu Fan appeared. In front of the monster, a red fire elemental core appeared and exploded, sending the approaching millions of demons retreating. "Are you okay, Pingman?" Yu Fan said. "You're fine. You were just falling down. I've recovered a little. I'm fine now." Yu Fan arrived from a different passage. At this moment, the 1,000 demons attempted to attack the two again. A series of red explosions echoed in the sky, temporarily hampering their movements. "You're looking for Sheila, right? Have you found her? She might be just up ahead," Pingman said. "Then go ahead. I'll hold it off," Yao Fan said. Pingman, slightly concerned, said, "That monster is very powerful. You can't handle it right now. There's no time. Now is not the time to leisurely consider strategies. I'll help you seize the opportunity, and then you can go immediately," Yao Fan said. As the smoke from the explosions dissipated, the 1,000 demons once again targeted an opening, blasting dark flames from their mouths. Yao Fan and Pingman dodged. Yao Fan used the flames in his hands to form a net of fire, entangling the monster in the air. The monster immediately broke through the net and advanced, charging with sharp claws. Yu Fan's body was engulfed in flames, and his feet, powered by the flames, moved at high speed, leaping aside. The monster's power, speed, and might of the thousands of transformers were so immense that Yu Fan struggled to gain an advantage. A direct hit would have been enough to inflict significant damage. Yu Fan was momentarily on the defensive. Not only did she have to buy time, but she also had to avoid the thousands of transformers' attacks and maintain her distance. Pingman also had little chance to escape the black monster's clutches. With impending doom looming, the dim light in the basement flickered, as if there was a power outage. In a moment, all the lights in the basement dimmed. Pitch black was all around, save for one spot, a single, intense glow, a red flame. Yu Fan's glow now shone brightly, dozens of times brighter than before. "Alright, that elemental binding electromagnetic field has vanished. What's going on?" Pingman asked. "Probably Wei Ying's doing." "That's good. Let's go." Pingman, hearing this, Pingman understood and began to move deeper into the basement. The thousands of transformers seemed to be blocking their way. The temperature in the air suddenly rose, and multiple red balls of light coalesced into high-temperature nuclei in the air, exploding one after another. Explosions continued, and intense heat permeated the air. Even the eaves were shattered, sending rubble raining down. The 1,000 transformers were finally contained. As the lights gradually returned, Ping-Meng determinedly advanced deeper into the basement. The 1,000 transformers could no longer help but focus on the present moment. Chapter 221 Final Stage. Outside the entrance to the Elemental Institute in Area 32, Lanjing was assigned to deal with the rioters outside. He appeared before everyone on the snowy ground. He descended from the sky and struck the snow with a palm, causing a massive ripple. The snow rose like a wave, covering the students. The overwhelming force of the sound terrified the students, who fled in all directions. The organization sent me to deal with you. This is your fault. Don't blame me, Lanjing declared. As the snow collapsed, the students scattered. Lanjing, eyeing several students who appeared to be skilled in the elements of fire and earth, leaped up from the air and approached, preparing to strike with a kick. At this moment, I transformed the shockwaves with my green light sword into line, colliding with him. The collision of the kick and the key slash forced Lanjing to retreat slightly. I quickly approached the man and said, "They're just first years, don't go all heavy-handed." He landed and chuckled, saying, "I don't want to do this, but they don't seem very obedient. Wait a little longer, they'll behave themselves. It's winter, and enthusiasm will soon cool. That's fine, I'll wait until the time comes." Hearing this, I looked around. The students, including a few more impulsive ones, seemed to be still trying to destroy the building. I felt I couldn't stop them, so rationally I thought, if we both stop now, it would be a good option. "Who knows?" I said carelessly. Suddenly, Lanjing leaped up, heading towards the two impulsive teenagers on the other side. I didn't expect him to avoid me to deal with the others, catching me off guard. As Lanjing soared above the two students, his feet shone with a faint deep blue light. He suddenly stomped into the snow, causing a huge whirlwind. The snow was lifted up, covering the two students like a blanket. The area was so large it encompassed the two students in all directions. For a moment, the two students were caught off guard and covered their heads with their hands. Suddenly, two figures appeared and quickly escorted them away. The two, a man and a woman, were the Academy's top executives, Wang Liang and Hua Qian. "Teachers, you really don't know how to live or die. Coming to such a dangerous place unarmed, have you ever used your brain?" Wang Liang said, as he set a student down. Everyone saw the two special teachers. Jing Chuang sighed, "Teachers, are you here to rescue us? Students are breaking the rules. As a teacher, I should punish you." "Saving you? That's my duty," Hua Qian said. The students were captivated by their words. "Two more, you're from the upper echelons, right?" Lanjing said. "Well, for now, it's better if you don't make a big fuss." "It's better for everyone," Wang Liang said. "We all are." The students calmed down under the mediation of the two, and Lanjing followed them toward the main entrance of the Elemental Institution. For a moment, the entrance to the Elemental Institution fell silent, a chill wind rustling past. Wang Liang declared, "That's enough. Do not make any further unnecessary moves. Otherwise, not only will the punishment from the Academy system increase, but I will also punish you personally." Hearing this, the 8 students were somewhat apprehensive. It seemed best not to stir up any more trouble. Some students felt that they had already done all they could. Then, a student, Feng Chui, asked, "Teacher, what should we do next? There are still a few students inside. We will contact the institution further regarding this matter." "We're already doing it, and the results should be out soon," Wang Liang said. "There's no need for you to do anything unnecessary in this situation," Hua Qian said. Then, the place gradually fell silent. Pingman ran deeper into the basement. After passing the distance he had just covered, he could see numerous cells, now very close on both sides of the passage. Looking around, he saw that most of the cells were empty, giving the area a rather desolate appearance. Moving forward, he passed a cell on the right, where he saw a female figure bound by ropes in a sack, with only her head visible. He confirmed with his own eyes that it was Sheila, the person Pingman was looking for. She was indeed there. Pingman paused and approached the right cell. Seeing the figure before him, with short, light red hair, it was indeed Sheila. He said, "Are you alright, Sheila?" Sheila, still in the cell, reacted. She glanced forward, confirming it was someone she knew. She replied, "Pingman, you've made it here. It's truly not easy. I'll get you out now." "Wait a moment," Pingman said, using the little wind elemental power he possessed to try and cut a lock on the cell door. Opening the door, Pingman stepped inside, appearing before Sheila. Seeing the ropes binding her, he used his wind blade to cut them, and soon Sheila was freed. However, having been bound for so long, her body couldn't recover and she collapsed to the ground. Hiraman leaned down and caught her with both hands. Sheila said, "I've been tied up for so long, my body's a bit out of control." "Really? Anyway, I'll get you out first, and we'll figure something out later," Hiraman said. He then grabbed Sheila's hand and placed it on his shoulder, supporting her as they prepared to leave the cell. "Thank you." "No thanks," the two of them supported each other as they made their way out. They'd seen similar scenes before, during tough training, when they'd supported each other like this, leaving Sheila feeling deeply moved. Once outside, their next move was to get Sheila out of danger. They were thinking about continuing further into the basement. A figure with gray hair and gray clothing approached along the path ahead. Sheila couldn't make out who it was, but Hiraman knew it was Dr. Lark, as he would be called for the time being. Therefore, Pingman couldn't help but stop. Seeing this, Sheila asked, "Enemy?" A moment later, Claude walked up to Pingman and Sheila and said, "Pingman, congratulations on finding the person you were looking for, Lake." Pingman called his name, which made Sheila beside him confused. "Lake? It's okay if you want to call me that, but the Lake you knew is no longer here. He died 10 years ago." "He died?" Hearing this, Pingman asked, "What is your purpose?" "My purpose, for now, is to say goodbye to this place. Before I go, I really want to see your strength." "That organization seems very interested in it." "You must be kidding. Don't use such an excuse to implicate others. Although you found Sheila, it doesn't mean that you have won the game. What's next has just begun," Claude said. For a moment, Pingman felt the danger. He was alone and weak, and might not be able to defeat the man in front of him. He couldn't help but increase his vigilance. At that moment, Claude suddenly approached, striking with his slashing hand. Pingman took 2 steps back, losing his balance due to carrying Shara, and both of them fell to the ground. Claude's slashing hand dented several of the cell's bars. "Oh no. Let's run," Pingman said, lifting Shara and carrying her on his shoulder. She began to flee. Shara sensed that the man before her was no ordinary warrior, and a bare-handed fight was unlikely. She immediately searched her pockets for a weapon, but found none. Any firearms had likely been taken. Without a weapon, Shara was weak, especially since she couldn't move freely. "Without a weapon, I can't handle him," Shara said. "Stop talking. Let's find a way out. There might be someone out there who can help us," Shara sighed. Pingman ran with her, and Claude chuckled softly behind them. He extended his hand, and several black, flame-like shockwaves followed. Hirado dodged one of the attacks, but another still managed to hide him. Fortunately, he possessed a special defensive barrier that shielded him from the impact, nearly knocking him off balance as he ran. Having barely avoided the first wave, Hirado ran even harder, even though carrying Shara was a burden, but there was no other way. Seeing a bend ahead, he raced towards it. A second wave of attacks arrived, but Hirado sped towards the bend, avoiding the second small shockwave of black flames. He was now panting, his strength running low. "Are you alright, Hirado?" Shara asked. "I'm alright, I can still run a little longer," Hirado replied wearily, continuing forward, his pace slowing. Behind them, the gray-haired man approached the bend. Claude advanced steadily, a leisurely pace, unlike the frantic Hirado fleeing ahead. Then came the third wave, and Hirado managed to fend it off again, now maintaining a greater distance. A subsequent attack would be more difficult. For a moment, Pingman's efforts seemed to gradually break free from the man's pursuit. But what was the truth? Why did the man seem to have no intention of pursuing him? Regardless, the only option now was escape. Running forward, the two gradually reached the end of the road. A dark aura filled the air ahead. There, a monster stood still, its body adorned with spiral patterns, a pair of horns on its head, and the face of a furious lion. Millions of demons lay waiting. Furthermore, to further despair, beside the millions of demons lay 3 figures hanging from a nearby cross. They were Yu Xiaonan, Yu Fan, and Wei Ying. The road before him was a dead end, and for Pingmen, it was filled with despair. "Is there no way out?" Zula said, observing the situation. "This is a dire situation," Pingmeng said. Not only was there no way out, but behind him, the gray-haired man was approaching. Chapter 222 Final Stage. Is that so? In that case, let's start there. Suddenly, the 1,000 Transformers shifted their target to the other side, targeting the man on the cross. Their first target was Wei Ying, their black claws piercing him, opening a hole in his chest. Ping Meng's heart trembled. Then, the 1,000 Transformers split in two, piercing Yu Xian and Yu Fan respectively. Black flames ignited, consuming all three, along with the cross. The cross collapsed, engulfing the three in a sea of black flames. Ping Meng was in a state of disbelief, yet before his eyes, three people were being annihilated. They were all acquaintances, students in the same class. He faced a desperate situation, yet his hands were powerless. His wish was to save them, but he couldn't. Can a human wish overturn darkness? If not, why should those seeking light struggle so bitterly? Since it can, then the wish can be granted. For a moment, Ping Meng's gaze shone with a dark golden light. Not only his eyes, but his entire body, centered on his chest, shone with dazzling light. He slowly rose from the ground and landed gently, standing before the man. I don't enjoy fighting, but you're telling me to do something, Lark, Pingman said. Even though the three were already dead, there were still those who could be saved right before her. The woman now gazed at the scene with a desolate gaze, at what was happening here. I'm not Lark. Yes, you're nothing, you've finally awakened, but it makes me so unhappy. Claude, who had originally hoped for his awakening, to witness the hidden power that the organization so longed for, found this very thing before him. People yearned to get closer to the truth, conducting experiments and making corrections to that end, but what was before him was something they wanted to see and study. The light there was a bit glaring. Claude wanted to study that kind of thing. Experiment? It was simply disgusting. I'm going to take care of you. Suddenly, thousands of demons rushed towards them. The light in front of Ping Meng dimmed, revealing a dark golden figure, shrouded in bright eyes. His dark golden body, clad in a platinum cloth, blocked the way to the thousands of demons. Neither gave way, creating a dual pressure. The demon's ferocious dark red eyes clashed with the latter's furious gaze. The 1,000,000,000 demon roared like a lion, dark energy gathering from its mouth, a menacing aura. The demon's gaze remained fixed, and suddenly, with a hand, he reached forward and covered the demon's mouth, interrupting the shockwave and causing it to explode from his mouth. The 1,000,000,000 demon lost its footing, and the dark golden figure seized the opportunity to push it to the ground. Its head smashed against the ground, cracking from the impact, and the 1,000,000,000 demon's body sank into a stone pit. A resounding sound echoed, and the dark golden figure now stood before the monster. The 1,000,000,000 demon slowly emerged from the stone pit, feeling slightly affected by the impact, but otherwise unharmed. Shaking off the gravel from its body, it raised its gaze, gazing upon the towering dark golden flames before it. It felt its own majesty and imposing presence overwhelmed. It tried to strike back, but the wrathful gaze filled it with fear, making it difficult to muster its momentum. Facing the golden flames, the 1,000,000,000 demon lowered its head and retreated. At this moment, Claude and Ping Meng were standing in line, each in front of the other. What was that? Was it a primordial spirit? I thought it was something else. Boring. As Claude spoke, a punch suddenly struck, but Pingman blocked it with his hand. The fist and palm collided, and Pingman took the blow. Claude couldn't help but feel Pingman's strength, which was different from before, even stronger. He could already handle a blow of his own. Immediately, Claude kicked, but Pingman blocked it with his arm. The two engaged in a close-quarters fight. Claude, with his slender figure, had an advantage in attack range, and he continuously attacked Pingman with punches and kicks. Pingman moved less, focusing more on defense to parry the blows. The two men were in a stalemate, their strengths almost equal. Claude focused on moving to attack Pingman's weak points, but Pingman saw through his attacks and barely moved, mostly blocking with his hands and slightly shifting. Instantly, he kicked Claude, disrupting his attack and striking the opponent in the lower body, causing him to lose balance and fall. Why would you do that? Why would you hurt people? Seeing the fallen Claude, Pingman immediately threw himself on him, his gaze fixed on the man. Seeing he was about to strike back, Pingman punched him in the face before he could strike, breaking his focus. A hint of grief and anger filled Pingman's eyes, and he immediately struck back. Just as he had been assaulted by the countless demons, Pingman did the same now, hammering down Claude with blow after blow. He demanded, "Why did you kill those people? Why are you so heartless? Why would you do such a thing? Why?" Pingman's fists continued, his confusion unresolved, his golden gaze dimmed. Meanwhile, the red alarm flashed intermittently. With less than 5 minutes until the explosion, neither of them paid much attention. Claude, battered by the blows, stared at the man before him, unable to help but ponder. What I did, amidst the barrage of blows, Claude tried to speak, but the words faltered. Was what I did wrong? 10 years ago, Dr. Lark, then in his early 40s, was on another patrol in the jungle. He made a deal with a retired soldier for firearms and experimental materials. Lark completed the transaction. However, on the way back, he and his few guards were about to board their car when it broke down and required significant repairs. Dr. Lark, bored and wandering the mountains, suddenly lost his balance, stepped on the wrong foot, and slipped off a cliff. It had just rained, and the ground was damp. Despite his calls for help, no one came to his rescue. Instead, he was pursued by a black bear, which chased Lark, causing him to fall off a cliff and die. Few people knew of this incident at the time. One of them was Crowder, a master of numerology. He had known that the man's fate would soon be tested, but he ultimately failed to escape. Thus, an opportunity arose to replace him. 10 years earlier, Takro had encountered a thousand-fold demon, possessing the ability to change appearances. Then, he put on the mask of Dr. Lark and started a new journey. For a moment, Lark's expression appeared in front of Pingman, which was probably an illusion. Then, Claude's face was hid and changed again, becoming the appearance he had grown from birth to the present day. Pingman could not help but stop his hand, and the dark golden figure put his hand on his shoulder to signal. At this time, the black aura in front gradually disappeared. And the 3 people who were burned also disappeared. It was an illusion. The truth was obscured. Pingman's eyes had not seen everything yet. Claude understood that he might have done something wrong, but what was that in front of him? Excessive emotions. This is the stupidity of those people. Perhaps he had imitated that man for too long, and he was getting closer and closer to him. For a moment, Pingman left Crowder and headed towards Sheila. Time was running out. He reached Sheila and helped her up, saying, "All right, we can leave now, Pingman, you've truly awakened. I thought you were truly finished, don't say anything more. My eyes are very dim, and there's still so much I don't understand. Let's get out of here." Sheila had nothing more to say. She concluded that it was time to follow him. She nodded, and the 2 of them headed towards the other side of the passage. There were signs pointing to the emergency exit outside, and it seemed they could catch up. "That's why I hate this kind of human emotion." Crowder slowly crawled across the ground, where a dark red alarm shone. The millions of demons seemed to have already fled. Time was running out before the explosion. This place might become their final resting place in Area 32, near the entrance of the elemental research facility in the suburbs. Numerous people were seen hurriedly fleeing the facility. Some were staff members, some were direct reports, some carrying valuables, others pets and clothing. The flow of people was light. Despite being a large base, it appeared to be undergoing reconstruction. The students were particularly attentive to the people coming and going, wondering if any of them were from the Holy Water Spiritual Academy. As the time for the explosion drew closer, Feng Shui and the others grew increasingly anxious. With approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds left, 2 people, a man and a woman, appeared at a nearby factory entrance. One of them had dark blonde hair and was supporting the other woman as they moved slowly toward the snowy ground outside the passageway. They looked rather distraught. Feng Shui and Feng Yin both confirmed that one of them had made it through the door. He said, "Pingman, that's Pingman over there. They've come out." Upon hearing this, the 2 teachers and other students all looked in the direction Feng Shui had indicated. Someone asked, "Where are they?" "There," someone pointed out. Not far away, Pingman and Zula were indeed moving away from the research facility. There are only 2 people there, so the remaining 3 and Senior Xingze haven't returned yet, Feng Yin said. Almost a minute left. For a moment, the students were still trying to recover from the tension. The number of people exiting the several exits gradually thinned out. Presumably, those who were able to leave had already escaped the base. The countdown reached 1 minute, and as the clock neared 50 seconds, several voices were heard flying from a window on the 2nd floor of a nearby passageway. Among them were me, Yu Fan, Yu Xiaonan, and Wei Ying. The 3 of them had been confined to different rooms. I wasn't sure what had happened, but we quickly located them. We led the 3 of them out through the 2nd floor window. I led the other 2, and Yufan was barely able to remain airborne for a short while. Soon, we arrived at an open space outside the base, where several students and 2 teachers were gathered. We all landed safely on the snow. Meanwhile, on the other side, Pingman and Zula, supporting each other, circled around and slowly made their way to the students' side. Seeing this, Huaqian asked, "Are you okay, Pingman?" Hearing this, Pingman, who had spotted the teacher, a figure similar to Shi and Fen, said, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just the others." His head hung low as he spoke. Zula was also at a loss, but she happened to notice a few figures she had seen before, Yuzayan and Yufan, on the other side. They seemed to have disappeared from the research facility, but now they were right before her. She knew she wasn't mistaken. She patted Pingman on the shoulder and said, "Wait, those people seem to be alive." Alive? Pingman looked up and suddenly saw me, Yuzayan, Yufan, and Weiying. Seeing this, I stepped forward, looked at Pingman, and said, "Thank you for your hard work, Pingman." "Teacher, you're lucky you brought Zula back," said Yuzayan beside me. The explosion time had arrived. A loud bang erupted from the nearby research facility. Red lotus flames ignited, encroaching upon the corridors within. Multiple explosions erupted, and smoke quickly spread like fireworks. "Really? You're all okay? How did you get out?" Pingman asked, puzzled. "Part of the reason we were able to get out was thanks to Senior Xingze." Yufan arrived. Pingman now truly felt that they were still alive, and what they had seen in the basement was an illusion. Hearing this, Pingman nodded, "That's great. Thank you all for your help." Even though things had changed compared to before, they still hadn't seen the truth. There was no reason to celebrate. For a moment, the people he wanted to save and the other students were all safe. Pingman had accomplished his mission. Soon after, everyone left, returning to their respective destinations. Chapter 223 Sunday. Sunday was a typical day off, and the weather was beautiful. I had nothing special to do today. I woke up as usual and did some early morning exercises. It was almost breakfast time. Being a weekend and a cold winter day, dinner would be a little later than usual. At 8 o'clock, I arrived in the living room, where I could see some freshly prepared breakfast on the dining table. My sister Lan Yu was shuttling between the kitchen and the living room. That hard-working woman, undeterred by the cold weather, hadn't delayed breakfast. That was just a consideration Shuihui and I had. I was pretty normal, but Shuihui, unlike Lan Yu, was a good sleeper, and probably had no worries about the future. Lan Yu often criticized her, perhaps out of a sister's affection for her. Like a pig, these words irritated her, and when they irritated her, she started crying, and that changed her, fluctuating between good and bad, which was frustrating. She had some good qualities, but she also had many flaws. Then, when breakfast was almost ready, Lan Yu sent me to wake up her other sister. Following her instructions, I headed to Shuhu's room. I reached the door and opened it, revealing Shuhu still lying on the bed not far from the room. She seemed to be dormant, soundly asleep, covered in the blankets. Unable to bear the thought, I walked over, gently rocking her and calling her. Then I called her name, and after the third time, she responded. That was wrong for her to be asleep. She shouldn't have stayed up so late last night, she was probably just taking a nap. Feeling lazy, I reached out and tugged at her hair, which woke her up. Brother, she opened her eyes and looked at me hazily. It's time for dinner, Shuhu. Get up and wash up, I said. Hey, it's Sunday, so a little sleep won't hurt. Yeah, no problem. I'll ask Lan Yu to wake you up later, I said, about to leave. Hearing this, she recalled a bad memory and said, Wait, brother, I'll be up soon. It was probably the care and concern of an older sister for her younger sister. It was 8:15 a.m., and we were having breakfast at the dining table. The TV was on. During our meal, the TV was broadcasting yesterday's news report about an explosion at an independent research facility outside the city in Area 32. Investigations indicate the explosion was caused by a time bomb, with human intervention as the primary cause. This is what happened at the scene where I was. There were virtually no casualties, as Holy Water Spirit College had reported the explosion the day before, and police had evacuated personnel. The news item suggested the base contained valuable information, or perhaps was old and in need of reconstruction. The specific cause remains unknown. There were few reports on anyone involved, perhaps because it involved confidential information that couldn't be freely disseminated. Area 32 is quite far from here. Is it the North District? Shuho said, listening to the TV report at the table. It's on the edge of the South District, I said. Looks familiar. I think you were around there yesterday, Lan Yu said. I had discussed some of the places we were planning to visit yesterday. Well, that organization has something to do with what I did yesterday. Sure enough, I just heard about the Holy Water Spirit Academy, Lan Yu said. It was around the time my brother abandoned me on Christmas Eve and ran off somewhere else, Shui Hua said. That's when it happened. I thought he'd gone to see that girlfriend, Shui Hua said. The situation that day was a bit complicated. The student was abducted, and a lot of things happened afterwards. It was connected to that organization, but it all turned out well, I asked. Did you get into any danger? Lan Yu said. No, I'll tell you the details later. Then we gradually ended our breakfast then. Sometime before noon, Lan Yu realized that the food supply at home was running low, and it was time to go out and buy some food. As students, we don't often have time to do things like mothers do. Although there are many household robots these days that can be operated by inputting commands, we don't have one of those. The only one we have is Mr. Vacuum Cleaner, a convenient robot that's also very popular outside. So, Lan Yu came to me again and said, Brother, it's almost New Year's, and we're running low on food. Let's go shopping. We need to buy a lot, so come with me. Really? In that case, I'll go too. It's hard for you to go alone, I said. I understand. We'll be leaving soon. Shui Hua, who was standing nearby, also heard our conversation and came over, saying, Then let me help. Lan Yu said, Okay, but don't run around when you go out, especially when you're shopping. I understand. I'm not a child anymore, Shui Hua chuckled. Then we prepared to go out. It was quite cold today, so we all put on warm clothes before leaving. Shui Hua also brought a scarf. Anyway, we set out. There were a few convenience stores nearby, but we were going to a shopping mall a little further away. First, we needed transportation. Taxis were more convenient, so we found one and headed to the central street of the nearby 9th District. It wasn't far, as the 9th District was also part of the school campus. We took a short taxi ride and arrived at the central street of the 9th District. It seemed like Lan Yu's usual shopping spot. I'd run into her there before. It was a busy place, and despite the chill today, there were still many people walking around, some shopping like us, others just sightseeing. Walking down this street, we were heading towards the central shopping plaza. As we walked, I gradually became aware of the vibrant energy of the earth, a strange feeling, like the beating of a heart. Suddenly, a faint glow shone from my body, perhaps connected to the raw stone. It wasn't just me. Lan Yu, standing beside me, also had a faint glow pulsing from her chest, a glow on her chest. What is this? I asked, somewhat puzzled. A sign of awakening, Lan Yu said. Shui Hua looked puzzled. Really? I don't quite understand, I said, and Shui Hua felt the same way. I hope it's nothing bad, Lan Yu couldn't help but say. Then we continued towards the central plaza. On the other side, a young man slowly passed us, his hat on, his hands in his pockets. He understood what was happening. The glittering Gemini stone, the throbbing of awakening seeds, the sign of the coming of a new era, he whispered, gradually moving away from the three people. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224 about the ruins. We went into the mall, finished our shopping, and then headed home. We bought quite a bit, so we took a taxi. After our shopping, we returned home, and it was almost time for lunch. The three of us each placed our purchases, large and small, in the living room. It was time to prepare lunch. Lan Yu said, it's almost time for lunch. I'll go first, I'll help too, Shui Hua said. You brought back quite a lot, brother. Help me sort them out, Lan Yu said. I got it, I said, and then began to do what Lan Yu had instructed. I did buy quite a bit. After all, it's the end of the year, and people seem to want some change as they welcome the new year. Rather than the clothes, daily necessities, or food I bought today, the excitement I felt on the streets was what really interested me. What was that? It seemed to be interacting with the raw stone in some way. I hope it's not a bad thing, Lan Yu said, and I thought so too. We soon reached lunchtime, and this Sunday we spent quite normally. On Monday, a new week, Shuho and I headed to the academy as usual, starting our day there. With the final 6 months of our third-year students approaching, the students here often discuss their futures and their options for further study. Shuho and I haven't discussed these matters much. Our lives are both indescribable, and there's no need to dwell on them. Am I clear on this? Not quite. At least, I have a good idea of what I'm doing. After a morning class, during lunch break, I headed to the academy's upper echelons, the 10th floor conference room. I'm here to discuss the newly created Mecha, the Azure Heart. Based on our previous experience, I'm in sync with the Azure Heart. Therefore, this development is a complete success for the researchers. The details seem to be working flawlessly, and there are still many features I haven't used yet. From the perspective of whether the Mecha and I can adapt to each other, there's no problem. Beyond that, the Mecha lacks any capabilities. Can it become my personal Mecha? Based on everyone's analysis today, the conclusion is that it can. This was the news I received upon arriving. But that doesn't seem to be the main topic for today. From the Academy's perspective, verifying my eligibility is as simple as logging my information into the information center. Speaking of which, today's topic concerns the creation of this Mecha. As everyone knows, the great secret of Mecha construction lies in the core crystal. It's the Mecha's engine, so to speak, but the crystal's capabilities extend far beyond that. It's like a mysterious force that brings life, movement, and integration to all things. This is why the natural Mecha is known as natural, said a lead researcher. We haven't yet uncovered the secret of the crystal. For now, this topic remains open to the public. Please keep it a secret. I do have some understanding of the Mecha's core crystal. It's the secret to the Mecha's fusion and natural operation. So far, I've only known it exists, like knowing images appear on TV but not knowing why. It's nothing to worry about. If it appears, it appears. It's common sense. So, there's no need to worry. The machine's foundation rests on that almighty crystal, and therefore, the crystal is also its weakness. We'll continue our research on the crystal issue, the lead researcher said. Let's get to the point. Researcher Zhou Wenchu, Hiduoxi, standing nearby, said, that's correct. Excuse me. The main topic is the blueprints from the ruins. Nearly 20 years ago, an archaeological team discovered the design of an ancient machine in the deserts of South America. The mystery of that design was truly incredible. At the time, it was completely unimaginable that it could be made into a machine. By the way, this is also confidential. Please keep it secret. A moment later, in the dimmed conference room, an image appeared behind the lead researcher. It was a blueprint from the ruins, with countless textures that looked like they could form the structure of a life form. A tree diagram of life. After a lot of analysis and through the power of crystal, we combined the design drawings of the ruins with crystal to create a new machine. That is the Azure Heart. That is one of the design drawings. The design drawings of the ruins have many forms, and the current one is one of them. I see. The more natural the form is, the more evolved that machine is, the closer it is to the truth of nature, Hiduoxi said. Yes, this is still not made public, and only we know it. Next, let me tell you something interesting. Before that, everyone should know that this is inside. We got it. Please continue, Chief Researcher. Everything we said today is a secret. Is that all? A researcher on the side interrupted. Not long ago, the Azure Heart reacted, originating from the inside of the machine, in the core part, and the machine naturally glowed. We have also investigated that special phenomenon, and it seems to be related to changes in underground energy. So, what's going on? A sign of an earthquake or something? Hiduoxi asked. No, according to our investigation, the occurrence of that phenomenon is related to the ruins. There are multiple specific locations where it occurred, which are probably potential locations of ancient ruins. Something is probably happening on the ground. It can be said to be a natural change. For this reason, we still conducted a deeper investigation. We found some Mecha troops investigating the ruins. Which troops are they from? Probably the troops from the first area and the royal city? If I said it wrong, just think of it as a slip of the tongue. Really? It's really something that can't be said casually, Hiduoxi said. At this time, the main researcher looked at me and said, Student Xingze, this matter was not originally discussed with the outside world. You are still a student, but because you are the driver of the Azure Heart, you and that machine may need help in the future, so I told you, please help when it needed. Hearing this, I said, I understand. I will make a judgment based on the content of the task. Regarding the ruins, we will contact higher-ups, people from the first area and the royal city in the near future. If there is anything, I will make some adjustments. Maybe you will be needed to go out at that time. Really, that was pretty much the content of the negotiation. Not long after, the meeting ended, and I left, heading downstairs. Regarding the ruins, I've been feeling a connection to the glowing gemstones land you and I experienced the other day. It felt like a resonance, perhaps a sign of something about to begin. As for what it was, I couldn't tell. I just have to wait and see afterward. By the time I came downstairs, it was almost time for afternoon classes. Knowing it was almost time, I headed to the classroom to begin. For us third-year students, the mechanical studies are being reduced, focusing on basic training and increasing education. Apparently, this is the Academy's policy. Both morals and skills are essential. After that day, we returned to the Academy as usual for the next day. During my free time today, I saw Guanling. I'd contacted her earlier and asked her some questions. We both had some free time today, so during our lunch break, we went to the old study to discuss something. Inside, we sat down on opposite sides of the old chairs. Guanling said, "It's been ages since you've asked me questions." That's true, because there's nothing I can teach you anymore. You've grown, Xingze, and that's a blessing. Guanling continued, "There's still a lot I don't understand, like what I learned today." I said frankly, "Whatever you're asking today, I'll try to tell you if I know." Guanling smiled. "Regarding the ancient ruins, a strange phenomenon occurred to me not long ago," I said. Then, combining my account of that incident with what the lead researcher had said, I relayed it to Guanling. After hearing what I said, Guanling's expression shifted slightly, and she said, "I know something about that." Really, I hadn't known for some reason, but I had assumed she might know something about this, and it seemed I was right. "Can you tell me?" I asked. Guanling hesitated for a moment before saying, "I'm a little surprised you know that. It's supposed to be confidential. I only learned about it during a meeting with the Academy's top brass. Although it was a secret, I felt Guanling should know something, so I shared it with her." "Okay, since I've just told you what I know, as agreed, I'll share the relevant information about the incident," Guanling said with a hint of solemnity. Hearing this, I knew it would be a significant undertaking in this new century city, so I nodded, indicating my readiness. "I'll tell you, you're important to me, Xingze. Speaking of the ruins, we have to talk about the origins of the original stone. That origin dates back a long time. 1,000 years ago, there are 4 gods who rule the world. For various reasons, the gods have reached the point of passing away, but out of concern for the natural order and peace of the world, they left behind many seeds. Those seeds are the original stones. The 4 gods predict that after 1,000 years, a successor will emerge, one who will inherit their power. That successor is one of the seeds. It's known as the Divine Stone. Only a few chosen individuals possess the Divine Stone. The Divine Stone is recognized by the 4 gods as the most capable of inheriting the power of the Great Wish. A key will be born 1,000 years later, and whoever obtains the key will possess the incredible power of the 4 ruling gods. Those are the legends about the original stone. 1,000 years from now, Guanling said. "How does that connect to the ruins?" I asked again. "The ruins are considered the most likely location for the key," Guanling replied. "I see. I've heard that both the First Region and the Royal City have dispatched troops to search for ruins around the world. Those are legends. I can't be sure how much of it is true, but at least, what I know." Guanling wanted to say something, but stopped. "What?" Guanling shook her head slightly. "I can't tell you that yet. Something important, but she can't say it yet." "Really? You've answered my question." "That's good," I said. Guanling smiled, leaning close to my shoulder. "Thank you. She has secrets. I believe there's nothing wrong with people having secrets, as long as they benefit others. Otherwise, it's time to share them." Chapter 225, First Area. After that, the days passed. I spent each day at the Academy, and the others lived their own separate days. The signs of impending events hadn't yet affected me. The higher-ups at Holy Water Spirit Academy were also gradually investigating information regarding the ruins. They would communicate with the city's highest levels, those in the Royal City and the First District. As things progressed, those involved were gradually taking action. I had a feeling the First District, the central city, was home to many people with faith. Saints and saintesses possessing the highest virtues were often supported, loved, and given gifts. Those who committed evil were often despised and struggled to survive there, though there were exceptions for those who could use their brains. How did we distinguish between good and evil? It was difficult to determine. Consideration for others was good, while self-interest was evil. It's difficult to judge good and evil based on a person's actions, so don't jump to conclusions. There's a truth to this. In addition to its rich cultural heritage, this area is also the birthplace of natural-shaped mechas. Many new mechas originate here, and even the almighty crystal at the core of each mecha originates here. According to outside sources, the crystal was discovered decades ago, and numerous researchers are currently studying its structure. No other crystal resources have been found, and development is impossible. Located in the central area of the first district, in the administrative building, sits a man named Pulin. He is not only the administrator of this district, but also a key developer of natural-shaped mechas, currently responsible for maintaining order within the district. Pulin is a respected figure on the street, and occasionally greets people at church. Currently, he is sitting in the administrative building, constantly facing situations requiring his judgment, a challenging task. Suddenly, a private phone beside Pulin rang. He picked up the phone and answered, "Excuse me, who is this?" "It's me, Guanling, your errand," the person on the other end of the phone said. "It's rare for you to communicate on your own initiative." "What's the matter?" Pulin asked. "Regarding the ruins, it's almost time for them to be generated," Guanling said. "Do you know, there have been many signs recently, and the energy in the earth veins is gradually increasing. The key is about to appear." "You are really confident." "Why do you think so?" Guanling said. "I know, because this is not the first time. I heard that the investigation team has been there. Well, there are probably many places where the ruins have not been discovered, and they are still in the search state," Pulin said. "There are other troops besides you who are taking action." "Yes, Holy Water Spirit College. They are a puzzling object and seem to be quite interested in this matter. Why don't they join? Anyway, there are subordinates there, and there are good talents," Guanling said. After hearing this, Pulin understood something, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly and said, "Okay, that's no problem. Let them join the ruins search team." With these words, the discussion between the two almost came to an end. Over the past couple of days, the Holy Water Spiritual Academy has contacted the management of the first special zone, receiving information indicating that they have been authorized to assist with the search for the ruins. The special zone authorities haven't elaborated on the main information regarding the ruins, simply stating that they intend to recover the item, claiming it to be extremely valuable, with a generous reward for the finder. For a moment, among the higher-ups at the Holy Water Spiritual Academy, Chief Researcher Zhou Wenshu remarked, "This valuable item must be more than just an ancient artifact preserved in a museum. They must have found something, but they're unwilling to share it with us." Zhou Wenshu began to chuckle quietly, seeming to be intrigued. Based on the situation, the key to the ruins might also be related to the schematics and the natural mecha, a researcher said. "Well, as expected, confirming it with our own eyes is the best option," Zhou Wenshu said. "Even if we find it, we'll hand it over to them for safekeeping. We're just carrying out our mission," He Duoxi said. Hearing this, lead researcher Zhou Wenshu suppressed a laugh and said, "It seems like they were too bothered to ask us to help. They don't really mean to share, but having us join is a great opportunity. Regardless, we have a secret weapon we haven't yet revealed. Is that the Azure Heart?" "Yes, I predict that Mecha will play a vital role in this ruins exploration," Zhou Wenshu said. "The Azure Heart is a mecha constructed from a portion of the ruin schematics. Its properties are incredible, even resonating with natural processes. This resonance is related to the ruin's underground energy reactions. Therefore, it is indeed a secret weapon. I was originally trying to build a mecha based on that design for that student, and it unexpectedly worked. He's actually partly responsible for that, so if we're going, let him go." "It's the perfect choice," Zhou Wenshu said. "Really? I don't have any objections to that," He Duoxi said. "Letting him pilot the mecha, then beautifully find the key, and then remove a part of it and study it would be fantastic." Zhou Wenshu, somewhat lost in his own fantasy, said, "That's still unlikely. I'd consider photos or something like that," He Duoxi said. A moment later, someone stepped outside the conference room. The door opened, revealing a young woman with long crimson hair and a turquoise work uniform. Everyone looked at her. This wasn't a place anyone could enter, but she was probably an exception. "Well, Tell me about the ruins exploration mission, Guanling said. Seeing this, Zhou Wenshu couldn't help but adjust his glasses. Well, aren't you Guanling? Long time no see. You were so little when I last saw you. You've really grown up. I've been hanging around this academy all the time, Mr. Researcher Zhou Wenshu. You must be so busy with your research that you've overlooked me, Guanling said casually. Zhou Wenshu couldn't help but hold his head in shame. Guanling, it's rare for you to come here, Hiduoxi said. That's good. It means I have something to say, Guanling said. About the ruins, well, about that, I actually wanted to ask you to let me join the ruins search mission, Guanling said. Oh, is that so? Zhou Wenshu suddenly said, lost in thought. The girl already knew about the ruins and wanted to participate. Is it not possible? Guanling asked. No, you can. You can go with us. You have more experience anyway. You can take that student with you to complete the search mission, Zhou Wenshu said. Hearing this, Guanling said, that's good. Xingze and I will carry out the mission together. That's all. I see. That's your junior, contact me later. Excuse me, I still have some work outside, Guanling said, turned and walked out of the meeting room. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.